Gash is immortal. His confines, the realm of death, suckles on shadows, weaned as it were on webs of ritual. For his eyes echoes, for his ears a labyrinth of stone, and yet within his undead body something other than his umbrageous legacy.
Fathers, what is best in life?
Hang on, Nagash doesn't have ears.
He's got enough zombies, he can get ears.
I suppose he could. If he wanted ears, he could get them. That's for damn sure.
Maybe he's got corn. Maybe he's got corn growing out the back. What else is he going to do with his scythe other than reap corn? Do you use the scythe for corn? I don't know. Help.
Alright, random aside.
Can we do a universal reset?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I need one now.
I've gone too far out on this one and I can hear the ice creaking.
Yeah.
Can't get back.
I appear to be out on the ice floe and polar bears are watching me.
There was a time way back in the distant past when when Nagash definitely did have ears, you know, when he was a sort of young guy running around Khemri being afraid of everything.
If you kind of looked at the timeline of Nagash, it would be the most ridiculous thing in the world.
Oh yeah, it's absurd, especially like with all the time that's passed in the mortal realms, because that's like literally millennia, isn't it? It's eons, right? That's so like the stuff that happened in the world before, most of the surviving characters have almost forgotten, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so long ago they only vaguely remember. Even the gods only vaguely remember what happened back there.
But by the time you get to, shall we say, what was the modern time in Warhammer Fantasy Battle in the old world, everything that Nagash had done all that time was pretty much forgotten as it was.
Right.
So that then it's a forgotten time of a forgotten time of a forgotten time of a forgotten world.
Yeah.
And that makes my eyes twitch.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. I love that. I love that notion of glacial time. I think it's fantastic. I mean, this is beyond cosmic time, isn't it? This is another concept entirely. It's basically metaphysical time.
It's time that's so immense that time itself means nothing.
Nothing. It's absolutely meaningless.
It's just an abstract experience.
So do characters like Nagash then, do they have any knowledge of how they've gotten to their current state of play? Do they know their own origin?
Some of them do, but it's only very vague. I think Nagash actually has forgotten, hasn't he?
Yes. So in the Black Pyramid, the last story of the... what the hell was it called? I like the fact I can remember a short story that was released, but not the name of the series.
Not the anthology.
Oh, God. Before Soul Wars came out, what was that? Mortal... No.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
The Book of Dust. It was...
Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not?
You did a whole audio thing on it as well.
You did, yeah.
I read them all.
Bad podcaster.
Oh, no, it's just bad memory. And also, father to a 2-year-old, I don't actually remember anything anymore. It was Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, Forbidden Power. No, that was the second one. Oh, whatever. Anyhow,
whichever one.
In the Black Pyramid, the final story of that series, Nagash reminisces over having a slight memory of it looking slightly familiar.
Yeah.
So he's forgotten it, but it is still there somewhere.
It's sort of lingering there, isn't it? Yeah, the influence is still there, but he can't remember specifically. I don't think he can remember being mortal, ever.
No.
I think from his own perspective, he is like the manifestation of death, isn't it? He can't I don't think he even recalls having like mortal origins.
Who'd want to remember being a pathetic weak mortal when you're the god of death at this point?
Yeah, it's a fair point. Fair point.
When you're Super Skeletor,
Yeah.
The mediocre, pitiful life where you're afraid of everything versus what he is now. It's like, no, there's no need to remember that. It's superfluous. It's a past existence that doesn't matter anymore.
Fair.
It's
Absolutely
like me
fair.
during my goth phase at college, trying to remember when I wore white.
Oh my god.
Doesn't matter anymore. This is who I am.
Very apt comparison as well. Like Nagash is like the very manifestation of Gothicism. So yeah.
Speaking of White, the voices you can hear are, of course, Mr. Adam White.
Oh, hello.
And, of course, you can hear Mr. Andy Millman.
Wow, okay, so okay, hey.
Yeah, hang on. Surely the guest is after the esteemed hosts.
You'll notice that I'm last in this list, so, read into that what you will. Also, please let me die. And, of course, George.
Yeah, I'm here, definitely. Sort of. Present.
Now we may continue, because we keep getting complaints that we don't introduce ourselves at the beginning of the shows.
Really?
Could I add something else in then?
Yes.
Welcome to the Fluffenhammer.
Yes,
there we go.
Yes.
That's why I do it before the music starts.
And just to be absolutely clear, it's a Games Workshop podcast.
Kind of. If you think about a parallel railway that goes across, you've got Games Workshop Railway, then you've got our railway. Games Workshop Railway goes straight. Ours goes left, right, centre, up, down. Occasionally it turns into, a cruise liner. It's not exactly Games Workshop adjacent.
No, it's a sort of spaghetti junction of a podcast, isn't it, this one?
It's just actual spaghetti.
If Thomas the Tank Engine was narrated by George Harrison and not Ringo Starr.
I like that one. That should be on, like, if we have any, like, sort of brand material out there, any advertising material, that should be on it.
See, now I just really, really want to make a carriage rental for Lord Thomas the Tank Engine. But we'll talk about dwarves later. Fucking hell.
You could have done that if we were back in the epic scale, because didn't the dwarves or the squats have, like, giant train things?
They did. They had the Leviathan land train. Yeah, that's right. And others as well. There were, like, lots of different varieties of them as well.
Yeah, so I suppose if you wanted to, if you did have the need to go back and play Epic, you could go and buy the current Thomas the Tank Engine things that are on the shelves at the moment and just add some guns to them.
Yeah, I think that'd work.
What you're saying is, when people play Adeptus Titanicus, I should get that Thomas the Tank Engine Combiner toy that was in Poundland for a couple of years, stick that on the table and say, motherfucker, here come the squats.
I mean, it would be more interesting. There'd be more model variety than finally Titanicus at that point.
Or do we just get a Titanicus with a lovely, luxurious beard coming out the bottom of the helmet?
I do like the idea of, like, a knight or a titan with a beard. I think that's really rather cool.
Nice little top knot. It up like
for an orc, really, wouldn't it? Because you could, like, justify the beard as like a hair squig, a really big hair squig.
Hang on, so a beard and a top knot. So what does he fire at people then? Hot lattes and cappuccinos from Specialty Brewmaster.
That's plasma avocados.
One of his arms has got intricate iron tattoo work halfway up.
Oh dear.
Yeah, the other one's got a barbed wire going around the calf.
Oh.
Oh God.
Welcome to the Fluffenhammer, ruining your hobby one sentence at a time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has been a while since we've all been together and recording, so...
Welcome to Irreverence, the podcast.
I wouldn't say that. I think that when we get on point, we're very, very much on point. And right now, that point is...
That'll be 2 hours' time.
Being tattooed, so... Have I ever mentioned to you guys the Thomas the Tank Engine TV movie that me and Joseph watched?
I believe I remember seeing that existed and being horrified.
Not the live action one.
No.
Existentially horrified that it existed.
Not the nightmare fuel that is Thomas and the Magic Railway, which is... I don't even have words to describe how much of a purgatory that film is.
Wasn't that directed by someone like Significant?
David Lynch, maybe. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Thomas the Tank Engine as directed by David Lynch. Here's
the weird one about that film. Do you know the bad guy was cut out of it?
Oh, really?
Why?
Because he was too scary.
Oh, my God.
They removed the agency of the villain. Removing the villain. So the reason that film... The reason that Thomas the Tank Engine and the Magic Railway is so freaking weird is because the guy who pushes the story forward through his evil action, so to speak, isn't in the movie.
Isn't actually in the film, okay. In a weird way, that does kind of make sense. I mean, Thomas isn't the kind of franchise that has antagonists as such.
No.
I mean, the closest the original series comes is characters like Diesel, right? Mm-hmm.
I don't know, when the Fat Controller, put, was it George or something, and then put him in a tunnel and then bricked him in?
Henry, yeah. Yeah, if there is an antagonist...
because he's a sentient being.
Oh, if there is an antagonist, it's the Fat Controller. That's absolutely true. He is the tyrannical, despotic overlord of
Sodor.
Of Sodor, there's no doubt.
Here's my question, right? So, Thomas the Tank Engine and all of the other things, are they robots, artificial intelligence, or are they some kind of steam golem that has put together as punishment for their crimes?
I was thinking like a demon-possessed engine, yeah.
Does it?
I think they were all child murderers or something. And they've been just stuffed, their souls have been stuffed into these giant oversized...
So you think Sodor is purgatory or something?
No, I think it's basically like 1600s Australia. It's a...
Shout out to our Australian listeners.
Yeah, it's just full of criminals.
Clearly.
That's the worst thing I've ever said.
No, it's not. It's not. Don't lie.
Oh my God.
Right now, I think it might be video.
Yeah.
Right, so...
Is there anything else before we move on that we can ruin for people? Is there anything that people want destroying or undermining,
Oh, there's so many things that could be destroyed.
Why did Christopher Robin never get devoured by Winnie the Pooh? He's a fucking bear.
Well, wasn't it because Winnie the Pooh and all of the wilderness creatures with fractured personalities of a schizophrenic?
I was going to say that's kind of the more sinister implication, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's certainly sort of an Alice in Wonderland quality to Winnie the Pooh in that regard.
No, I think it's more Alice through the Looking Glass, really, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
It's the same story, only someone found opium. Oh dear.
I mean, the nearest to him Pooh devouring Christopher would be some sort of Fight Club ending where Christopher has to shoot himself. Oh, I almost kept it together saying that.
I do like the idea of the shots changing between Christopher Robin and this tiny little Winnie the Pooh bear, like the live action one. And you get those shot transitions, it's just hard cuts. Oh, he was Winnie the Pooh all along.
Brilliant.
Soap out of donkey fat.
You could totally do a rendition of did it Identity, where they all get stuck in a motel and you find out that they're all personalities, and you just do that where Pooh's murdering Piglet and stuffing him in a washing machine.
Considering what the internet has done to Garfield, I think all bets are off, aren't they, on children's franchises?
I mean, it's fun things to do, isn't it?
It is, actually. I must admit, I'm a fan of the Garfield stuff, the Lovecraftian Garfield stuff that's out there. It's kind of brilliant.
Oh, Garfield's great.
Yeah, Garfield. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
by the way, I know Adam said earlier that it's been a while since we've gotten everyone on, but this is actually the first time yourself, George, Gruff, myself, and Andy have all been on a call together ever.
Is it really? Oh
yes,
my
because
God, that's so
the sticking
strange.
point is normally you and me, George. One of us is usually indisposed when the other one is available, and you can tell the effects of this because we pretty much broken Gruff in about half an hour.
Oh no, the thing that got me more than anything else to forget me was Winnie the Pooh murdering Piglet and stuffing him in a washing machine. Fuck me sideways, that got me good.
Someone's going to animate dominate this podcast one day. It's going to be amazing.
Yes, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Andy, I just want you to know I am legitimately fucking crying over that one.
I swear, I enjoy Identity. It's not a great film, but I enjoy it. I honestly think if you changed a lot of those characters, just Winnie the Pooh characters, you'd have an amazing time as well.
John C. McGinley's in it, isn't it? And that kind of that turns me on because I like him.
Yeah, I think it's Kevin's. I mean, this, if you get angry about Kevin Spacey because he's a horrible human being,
because he's a horrible man.
Yeah, but I mean, he's part of Hollywood, so you see, you throw a stone, you're gonna hit the water if you're out in the ocean, with horrible people. Right. But I don't know. I think Identity is quite fun, even though it is a little on the nose. Once you watch it, maybe a second time, or if you're paying attention.
It's very on the nose. It is. I mean, I
think it's an interesting idea. Yeah.
Before we get started, then, I think it is worth saying that right now Morbius is on 14% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I am fascinated to see the people that I usually watch for reviews. I'm fascinated to see what they think about it.
Jeremy Jahns has torn it apart.
I don't like Jeremy Jahns personally, but
fair enough.
I know it's all individual opinions. I know this, and I appreciate that yours will always differ. One person that I admire the opinion of, who I'm normally in sync with, actually really likes it.
Oh, really?
And has been ripped to pieces for saying
for staring to say.
But then again, I think they might be coming from a point where they've taken it as being completely separate to, trying to be anything tied into Spider-Man or whatever. So
who is it? So we can judge them harshly.
No, I'm not going to because the way they've been treated has been really poor, actually.
Yeah, there is absolutely no need to treat someone poorly unless it's Jared Leto, and then you can just kick him to death in the street if you want.
Wouldn't it be hilarious, like an aping of the whole COVID start, if he'd gone away to his island retreat for a week before the release?
Don't call it an island retreat. Call it what it is. It's a headquarters.
Cult headquarters.
There you go.
And not realise that there was any problem with the release of the film until he came back. It would make him discovering COVID look like a walk in the park.
Brilliant.
I think my favourite part of Moon Knight is the bit where he turns around and says, "Oh no, it's you, Marvel Studios' Moon Knight." Fucking Morbius. Well, actually, no, that's not fair. Morbius is an interesting enough character. Fucking Jared Leto. I'm Jared Leto. I like to chat up underage girls because I'm a sexual predator. Fuck off. Mm-hmm. Right. Anyhow, moving on. I am happy that Morbius is completely and utterly failing, so I want Jared Leto's career to go away.
Oh, wow.
By the way, at this point, I believe he might now have the lowest ranked Marvel movie and DC movie.
Yep.
That is impressive.
Oh, yeah. If you want to have a feat of something, it's...
Now all he needs to do is do the Universal Monster movie, their famous Dark Universe.
Wow, and then he'll have
a
triptych, yeah.
Oh, who's just Universal Monster?
The shittiest Universal Monster. Ooh, that's gonna be contentious.
Yeah. I wouldn't say any of them are really shitty.
No, I mean. Yeah, it's.
I was going to say The Invisible Man, but I think that's mainly because it's had bad, more modern movies than some of the other ones. Mm-hmm. I say that, but Dracula's had some fucking terrible.
It's had some terrible
modern films. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, it depends on what you mean, doesn't it? I mean, technically, although it is a classic film, and most of the Universal films are pretty good. I mean, the Frankenstein, the portrayal of the monster is very different from the book.
You mean Boris Karloff?
Far removed from the book, yeah.
Yeah. It's very different from the source material.
Very different from the source material, but it was groundbreaking, in lots of different ways. I mean, it was for one thing, it was heavily censored for its content. Primarily the line, "Oh God, now I know what it's like to be God," was heavily censored when it aired on British television.
That makes sense.
Great line, though.
It's good, isn't it? It's a great line, yeah?
They swapped it seamlessly with Donut.
This is what happens when you meet a stranger in the Alps. It was a really weird thing to say in the middle of bringing someone back from the dead.
Right. What I like in the book, all of that stuff, like the stuff that's so iconic about the Frankenstein mythology, the lightning, the laboratory, that doesn't exist in the book. It's just not there.
No.
It doesn't tell you how he does
Great
it.
visionary direction to kind of change it to make that so iconic.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I mean, in
weird.
the book, it just doesn't tell you. It does.
No.
It just does. It just glosses over how he does it. One minute the creature isn't there, and the next minute it is.
In a rather surprising nod to something that's actually going on at the moment, when Kenneth Branagh did his version of the film,
yes.
did he try and tie both the book and those classic scenes in?
He tried, yes, and he also he tried to replace the lightning with electric eels.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's some decent imagery in that Kenneth Branagh version. Like there's a sequence where he goes around collecting around antenatal wards, collecting all of the matter, and that's the fluid that the monster is sort of birthed in and whatnot. That's kind of cool, right? It's kind of an interesting imagery. It's just so over the top that adaptation. It is so over the top. And as much as I love Robert De Niro, he is crap as the monster. He is absolutely crap. He's so miscast.
Yeah.
I don't know. Visually, he looks right for it.
Visually, he's fine. He looks like how the monster is described in the book.
Yeah.
Actually. He looks just like it, but he's just not right. Like the presence, the ethos, the way he just doesn't work.
De Niro is not a man that can garner sympathy easily.
No.
I don't mean that as like an attack on him or anything.
No, that's fine if you do.
It's more that he's always like this rough-edged character.
Yeah.
The way he acts, the way he talks, I think he finds it very difficult. I mean, weirdly enough, though, he does it for Stardust. He manages to completely subvert his own personality, which is really quite fantastic.
Well, also as well, I mean, he's very sympathetic in The War with Grandpa.
What? What's the war with Grandpa?
Okay, the younger listeners will be laughing now. We will just remain silent out of respect for that missed joke. You have no idea what it was, do you?
No, I haven't a clue.
Okay. Not a clue.
It was, like Bruce Willis has obviously hit the tail end of his career very noticeably recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, of course, with bigger stars, they tend to have a slightly slower fall from grace.
Mm-hmm.
War with Grandpa was a Robert De Niro film with Uma Thurman that released last year.
Really?
Yeah, exactly.
Had no idea. No idea.
Think of it as sort of think of it like Home Alone, except instead of the kid taking on the burglars, the kid is taking on his own infirm grandpa who's kind of moved in with the family.
Wow.
Oh
God, that sounds
like a fun romp.
It is. But I spent 60 seconds of this podcast talking about something you don't care about, so let's move on.
And Uma Thurman is in it.
Uma Thurman, yeah, post-back injury Uma Thurman, so nice to see her back.
Wow.
Well, you say you spent 60 seconds talking about something that nobody cares about. What have we been doing for the last 20 minutes? These listeners are just screaming at us now. Yeah, get on with it.
It's fun, though, isn't it? I actually kind of like the fact that they might be screaming, get on with it. There's something very empowering about that.
So
we've been talking about debatably interesting things.
Mm-hmm.
We watched the remake of Cheaper by the Dozen the other day.
Oh, there's a remake?
Oh, yeah. Zach Braff.
Oh, my God.
Sorry, do you want me to start talking about The War with Grandpa again?
Honestly, the only reason we watched it is because we didn't believe it was real.
Yeah,
that
makes sense.
Out of incredulity.
But it turned out we both thought it was a joke, like it was an April 1st joke. And then the film kept going. But like the first 10 minutes of the film is nothing but narration explaining who they are as a family, right?
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. So I thought, right, so it's going to get to the end of this narration and it'll be over, and it was just a 10-minute joke. No, it keeps going. It's an hour and a half long. And does anybody want to ask me what the story is?
I bet it felt longer.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I thought we'd been watching it all night. Yeah. The answer to the question, what's the story? The answer is there isn't one. There is literally no story. It is just a series of things that happen to this family. And then it ends. The last time I felt this bemused by something was The Happening. but at least I had the joy of showing people The Happening and watching it.
I was going to say, at least The Happening is funny.
The Happening, I will still say that The Happening is the best parody film of the 2010s. Like, I don't think it was meant to be, but it is.
Unintentional parody, yeah.
When you put it against something like, I don't know, what the hell, the superhero movie and that type of thing, it is like the best parody film you'll ever see. It's up there with Airplane.
Well, the minute you've got Marky Mark in a blazer and a dicky bow tie pretending to be an academic, you're done, aren't you? Your movie is over. From that moment, it's done.
Oh, God, you're trying to kill me. What? Us? No. Yeah, you just shoot Mark Wahlberg in the face right there and then. No, absolutely not. Should we talk about Adepticon?
Shall we talk about Adepticon? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here.
We're going to talk about Chico by the Dozen some more.
We're coming up on an hour.
Right, so yes, Adepticon. Who wants to throw something out from Adepticon first? Has everyone got the link?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's so much here, isn't there? I mean, like, knights. Knights are coming back. We all love the knights, right?
Especially with beards.
Yeah, well, them too, yeah.
Go then, tell us about the knights, George. Tell us all about the knights.
Well, it looks like basically they're going to be some of the codexes that are coming up very soon. Tyranids are first, insofar as I'm aware. Tyranids are coming up next, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very, very soon, and they're looking great. Again, it looks like, I mean, obviously we've pretty much got the codex now, haven't we? Have you seen how much is leaked?
Oh, yeah.
Of this codex. It's ridiculous. It's leaked all over the internet. It's absurd. So we basically know what the Tyranid codex is going to be like, and it looks like another one of those brilliant Xenos codices that define 9th edition, right?
So just to backpedal a little bit into... I say backpedal, just to completely derail you and go into another conversation completely.
All right, fair enough.
Just for the hell of it. So I've played my first game of 9th Ed 40k.
Oh, great. How did it go?
Really well. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a really, really good system, to be honest with you. I think it might actually be the best system since 2nd.
I'm shocked more so that you had the free time to do anything.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I think so too, Adam. I think it is the best version of 40k, and I do think I mean, don't get me wrong, like any system, it's not perfect. There are definitely criticisms to level at it, but I do feel a lot of the criticisms come from sort of rose-tinted glasses, from an idealized notion of what the past was like. 9th Ed, for me, it's certainly the most balanced of the games that have gone thus far, of the editions thus far.
So I took the handmade squats that I've spent many hours making. Not pointing out that they took me 6 months to make at all. I'm not going to have anything to say about that at all for the time being. But yeah, I took them out against Abby's brother's Tyranids, which we played on the table at Centre Parks in Penrith, which was quite nice.
Brilliant.
Little bit of a downside. I had to take Joseph to A&E that morning because he cracked the back of his head open. But still, got to play some 40k.
He didn't take losing well, did he?
Clearly.
So got that game in, and it was absolutely superb. I ran the squats as an Orc army, which had some ups and downs. I think I'd probably run them as Firstborn Marines if I was ever to do it again, but I don't fucking need to now, so that's great. Foreshadowing, and I thought it was a really, really good game. What I found with the Tyranids as they were was once you took the psychic powers off the table, which we did because the what are they called, the twists at the beginning of the game? I can't remember the cards that you pull. Usually,
like the mission objectives,
not the mission objectives. Basically, we pulled one that said that there was a warp storm happening, and so all psychic powers had a -2.
Oh yeah. Yes, that's not good for Tyranids.
No,
that ain't good for Tyranids.
Absolutely. The moment they got into any kind of hand-to-hand combat, I got shredded.
This is with the 8th Ed Codex, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
So David has then been taking all the leaks and everything, and he's kind of together a kind of idea of what they play as now.
Yeah.
What his findings is that they are fucking unstoppable.
They're scary. Have you seen what the Zoanthropes can do?
Oh, yeah. But the downside to it is there is a lot going on in that army now.
Yes, they're complex. They're not a beginner's army, are they? They're kind of like they're related army, the Gene Stealer cults.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of complex. You need to know what you're doing with them, otherwise they're going to fall apart.
Yes. Yeah. Which it's a really interesting thing because it's starting to look like Imperium is easy mode for getting 40k.
Yeah, I think that may be
Xenos
what
is now hard mode.
Yeah, I think that may be what the tier system is, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got these very weird little codices and armies that exist outside of the spectrum. So things like your Thousand Sons, your Grey Knights, your Custodes, etc.
Well, do you not think the Custodes is super easy mode?
It depends, because they can suffer a little bit in the hands of people who don't know what they're doing with them. There's so few models. There's so few models in a Custodes army. And if you've got something that can wipe out models very easily, they suffer. They suffer like you wouldn't believe. Every loss in a Custodes army is significant.
Yeah.
Every model you take off the table. Tyranids, for the most part, for most builds, it's like, so it's a few Hormagaunts on it. It's a few. They'll be back in the next turn. They'll be coming back in the next turn. So who cares, right?
Very true. Yeah, I didn't like that. That made me upset. I shooting my biggest cannon.
That's been made worse in 9th Age. Have you seen the rules for bringing back things like Termagants and Hormagaunts?
Yeah.
Rules. They can basically just replenish themselves at the end of each turn. It's ridiculous.
Do they replenish themselves better than the Necrons do?
Oh yeah. Like
Necrons.
I mean, it's a slightly different thing. It's more like reinforcements arriving for the Tyranids, but it is a similar dynamic, and it's like
mechanically it's the same idea. It's just kind of worded differently. I'm guessing, right?
Similar. Yeah.
How I understand it is Necrons reappear or they reactivate. There and then on the table, whilst the reinforcements don't join the unit straight away or something like that.
It's something to that effect. Yeah, it's like new units turning up effectively, isn't it? Whereas with the Necrons, it's basically models coming back.
Yeah.
So all joking aside, then, a battle between Necrons and Tyranids, is there a danger that it just sort of goes on in one way, shape, or form continually? Now, I'm not joking here because I know that there must be, obviously, you're never going to regenerate as fast as the attrition rate, but is it going to be the point where that makes games between the two factions such a lengthy affair that players have to, if they're playing those two factions, they have to seriously consider things like timescale?
Oh, I don't think so. Because like with the Tyranids, even with the 9th Ed Tyranids, it seems to me the thing you've got to do is target the Synapse creatures, the big monsters. Basically, the minute you do that, and if you manage to take them all down or disrupt them, then that disrupts the Tyranid army massively. It really does. In the same way with the Necrons, I mean, there are certain the reanimation protocols can only work under certain circumstances, right?
I mean, generally speaking, from what I remember about win rates that I've seen, Necrons are massively suffering. They're one of the lowest winning armies at the moment.
They are.
Play.
Wow. They could do with an update to their codex.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think it's suffering from early edition syndrome,
First
like the Nighthorn had.
Yeah, First Codex syndrome, that's it. And it's a shame because all of the other Xenos armies in 9th Ed are amazing. All of them.
Well, the Necrons were, I wouldn't say they were amazing when they first came out from what I'd seen, but they were decent, but it's all the updates now are just outclassing them.
Yeah, it was the minute the Drukhari Codex hit, that was it. For the Necrons, that was kind of it. The Drukhari have got all of the major benefits of the Necron force, but better. Just better.
Yeah.
And faster.
Massively faster.
Which the Necrons don't have. You say they've got all the advantages of the Necrons, plus their own advantages.
Yes, that's it. And the Drukhari, despite everything that's happened, despite all the new codices that have come out, despite Games Workshop actually trying to diminish them, they're still at the top of the tournament boards. It's insane.
Isn't the Custodes the top at the moment, though?
They're doing all right. They're doing okay, the Custodes, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Henry Cavill has a lot of influence, clearly.
Oh, I wonder. That would be funny if that was the case.
But yeah, it's going to be. I can't wait to get the Tyranid Codex. I really can't. It looks like for the first time in many editions, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with again.
Yeah, they don't look like the first incarnation, so they're not worth buying if you ask me.
Yeah, the second Ed ones.
Funny you should say that. So I was in Games Workshop last week, and I was talking to the manager. I asked the manager, would he be okay with the idea, is it legal, should we say, to build an army out of the upcoming Tyranid Codex using nothing but second Ed models?
Why not?
Any reason why not? Yeah, as long as they're on the right size bases.
Right. Yeah.
And his response was, if you do that, I will help you source some of the miniatures.
Yeah. That would be fun, surely. That would be a really cool thing to see. It'd be bloody difficult, Adam, because they were all metal back then.
I was going to say, did you like grab him by the shoulders and say, "Don't tempt me, Frodo"?
Don't tempt me, Frodo.
Can you imagine like the size of the current armies compared to what they were like back in Second Ed?
Yeah.
Doing the Termagant swarms in all metal miniatures.
Well, the Termagants came in plastic. I think there were variations that came in metal, but I think primarily they were plastic.
Not in Second Ed. In Second Ed, they were all metal.
Okay.
Metal. Every Tyranid miniature in Second Ed was metal.
No, the Tyranids themselves, you could get metal ones, but there was also a plastic.
So there was a plastic Tyranid warriors. Yeah, plastic Tyranid warriors, but the Termagants were all metal.
Yes, everything else was metal.
Cost-wise as well. Are they extremely expensive to pick up now?
Probably.
The metal, probably, yeah, because they would be like, I mean, they're OOP, obviously. The molds might not even exist now.
Weren't the Gene Stealers plastic?
Gene Stealers were plastic, yes, because they were.
They were like 3 bits. There was like an arm, and then everything else.
Everything else, yeah. Still using, I mean, back in Second Ed, they were still using the molds from the original Space Hulk for the Gene Stealers.
Yep. They were.
I was sure the Termagants were. There was the plastic Termagants as well, though. That looked like the Second Ed versions, at least. They didn't look like the newer ones.
They came out in Third Ed.
Okay. But they looked like the second edition versions, right? Yeah. Oh, okay. That's probably where I'm getting confused.
I think there are weapon options for the Second Ed Termagants that just don't exist anymore. Do they still have the spike rifles?
Probably not. I know they got rid of a load of them.
No,
that was a purely Second Ed thing, wasn't it?
It was, because when what's his name, Ward. When Matt Ward did his the Tyranid Codex, he removed everything, making the most mutable army in the universe the least constructive, the least mutable lists you could actually make. It was insane because they kept smashing up Ultramarines. Seems to be the reason.
I do recall the Tyranid Codex before that one, before the Matt Ward one, was brilliant.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
It was really mutable. It was really unusual. You could do things like, you could give the weapons that you normally were exclusive to things like Carnifexes and Hive Tyrants to the smallest creatures, and their stats changed depending upon what creatures you gave them to. It was an amazing thing.
Is the Codex that you're mentioning the one that you really like, the one with that amazing art cover? Where it was kind of a black border, but it looked a little bit different from like the Necron Codex that came out around the same time.
I think that's the one, yeah.
It had a really unique artwork, I think.
It was either late Third Ed or early Fourth Ed, I think.
I mean, I'll try and find an image while we're talking.
Actually, that's something I would really love to do. Source all of the Tyranid codices that have been, because there have been quite a few now.
Yeah.
I would like to get them all just for the sake of having the library of them.
I don't think it'd be too expensive. Not like the Sisters of Battle, where their first codex is just like pretty expensive. It's like 40 quid or something. It's pretty expensive.
Because it's kind of a rarity, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's more rarer now.
I mean, I've got all the Chaos codices. I've got all of them. Even the crappy Fourth Ed one. That's the Third Ed one. I had that one.
Was that the one that you meant, or was it a different one?
No, the one I meant, I think, was the one after that. It was the one for Fourth Ed. I think it was the one for Fourth Ed. That's the Third Ed one. That's the one where that's the first one where they completely reinvented them. Like the aesthetics, everything. Even the background was rewritten for them with that one.
And it was tiny.
Yeah, it is. It's a pamphlet. Like all the Third Ed codices, it was a pamphlet, basically. Lovely artwork, though. Really good artwork in that one.
The one thing I do like about those is that they tried desperately to fill in a lot of the blanks of the background with little asides and little bits of fiction here and there.
The way they portrayed the background in the third ed codices is interesting. You know how in second ed the codices were big and they were basically just volumes and it just gave you the background. It just told you what things were and how things happened.
Absolutely.
Those codices didn't. Everything was in universe. So it was like little snippets from Inquisitors and like records from the Imperium and observations from alien races. It was fun, I've got to say. I liked that of them.
There's a lot of theming in those ones as well. Like the pages were like the Dogs of War book were done with like little pamphlets and scrolls that were on the page and stuff like that. I really like that kind of design aesthetic for those books because there's a lot of nice theming behind it, and it makes you feel, like you said, it's more like you feel part of the world in some way, and it's still conveying the information in a bit more of a...
It's dynamic, isn't it? It's more engaging, you know? It's
a lot more
organic, rather than just having reams of text telling you, this is the Horus Heresy, this is what happened, this is the fall of the Eldar, this is the first Tyranid invasion, this is the war for Macragge, blah, 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 you know. Having it in universe.
Like the codexes and the tomes now are good. They're good.
They're very good.
I miss the presentation of that era because it's more fun in some ways.
I agree. I mean, like, I do love the current crop of codices, and I do think the ninth ed ones are probably the best ones that have ever been for most of the armies, to be honest. But it would be lovely to go back to that more organic way of communicating information. It's just more engaging, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's more like a scrapbook of someone in that universe at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I've got in my hand now, I've got the current Eldari Codex, which is bloody massive, by the way. And it's great. I mean, it's got all the background for anything you could ever want, but it is just all of the background. It is just reams of text, telling you exactly what things are, which is fine. It's fine. It's well written. It's well put together. But I do kind of miss the style of those codices, even though they were just pamphlets. They were tiny.
Yeah. Just do that style, but make them bigger.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, exactly that. Make them like that, but expand them enormously. Yeah, totally.
Out of interest, Andy, how have you found the Dogs of War book? Have you had a
well, you say that. I do have it right here, still in its package.
Oh, oh, that was a good sound. I like that.
Yeah.
Nice sound, wasn't it?
Oh, it's double wrapped. My God. Okay. So we're just opening it up now on screen live.
Exclusive unboxing video.
Oh wow, the quality is actually really good. It's in really good nick. It's expensive, but it's in really good nick.
Andy, you said it was sealed, right?
It wasn't sealed. No, it was just like in an envelope.
You could have done that breathe in of all the ink fumes and been high as a kite for the next half an hour.
I don't think they ever shrunk wrap these editions back in the day, did they?
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
No. When did they start doing that? Was that when they started doing hardcovers? Because I remember...
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I remember specifically seeing a Tomb King's book once when I was just randomly looking on eBay, and it's like, oh, there's a Tomb King's book. Okay, that's kind of fun. It's like, and then there was a hardcover one. I was like, whoa, what do you mean a hardcover?
Yeah.
We don't have hardcovers for our books. They're softcovers. Right? What's going on?
There were like one or two books back in the day that were hardcover. I believe the first Tau Codex was hardcover.
Was it? Wow.
Yeah, it was a really strange thing, the Tau Codex, when it first came out. It was so different from everything else because it was like totally new. The race was new back then.
What they did was the first printing was always hardcover, and then it went to softcover for every printing afterwards. For reasons.
For reasons, yeah.
That premium feel.
Yeah.
To be fair, a hardcover always just feels better, let's be honest.
It
Even
does,
though it costs more, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake.
The hardcovers are better, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Knights. we were going to talk about the Knights, I think. But they're coming after, I believe, after the Tyranids.
Yes.
Both of the Knight Codices. It looks like they might be both released together as well.
It looks like it.
Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights. And at long last, they've done what I really wanted them to do with the Chaos Knights, and we've got some proper Chaos Knights at long last.
Yeah.
Yay! Not just Imperial chassis that have got spikes on them and things. We've got actual, honest-to-God, warp-corrupted Chaos Knights, and they look amazing.
They really do, in all honesty.
are fantastic. That big one, what's it called? The Night Abhorrent.
Mhm.
Oh, love it. Love it. That is an old school Chaos Knight. It looks a bit like a Bane Lord. Do you remember the Bane Lord?
Yes.
The stick?
Yeah.
With tail and the funky arms and everything. Yeah, it's a proper old school Chaos Knight. It's corrupted by the warp. It's got organic bits. It's got birds all over it for some reason, which is fine. I'm up for that, you know.
I really like the birds.
I like the birds too. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And also, we've even got a proper War Dog Chaos coming out, which is lovely.
Right, I've got an interesting thought to make.
No.
So, so look at the Abominant, right?
Yeah.
Now, imagine it had wheels instead of legs,
Right.
right? Just two big, like, cart wheels on the side, right?
Oh, like the old Korn Demon Engine from
That
way back when.
It's a fucking bloodletter, not
Yeah.
bloodletter,
Lord of
Lord?
War.
it was a greater demon engine from Warhammer Fantasy Battle.
Like from way back when.
Yeah,
We're talking like, this is like the Realms of Chaos days, right?
It is, yeah. It is. And I'm telling you right now that they have gone right back and they have seen that thing and they've gone, do you know what? That's a great design. Let's give it legs.
It looks like what they've done is gone back through the old ranges and looked at things like demon engines. They've looked at the old Chaos Titans and they've introduced elements of that to the new Chaos, the new Knight design.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It works really, really well. Like really well.
So you're going to get the Knight versus Knight box set when that arrives?
It depends on how expensive it is, but I'm very
3 million.
Oh my god, 3 million what?
Just 3 million.
Oh my
But
god.
remember, that is the ordering price. That's not the scalper resale value.
Right.
That's true.
That's probably around 6.
Yeah. 6 million.
We joke about that, but I don't think that this kind of stuff would be as heavily hit by scalpers as say Space Hulk. It's not as popular, so it might be safer.
It's a bit more niche, this, isn't it? Like the Chaos Knights and even the Imperial Knights are a bit of a niche army. They're very unusual. They've always been a bit of an experiment in terms of the way they work. It's really strange for a Warhammer 40k army to have this few miniatures and for them to be this big.
Yeah.
Which has always been a problem for the Knights, actually. They've always suffered a little bit with that. Especially in the recent editions like 8th and 9th, where the whole thing is about holding objectives and so on. They've had difficulties with that, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I imagine they're more fun as like a painting project potentially than a like army to play as. But I don't know.
I mean,
I've always wanted to try and have a go at doing a Genestealer Cult Knight.
Yeah.
That would be such a fun thing to try and do.
What a brilliant idea. So, like, a night world that's been corrupted by a Genestealer cult, and have, that's a brilliant idea.
Just having, like, hybrids welding things together as it's walking along.
Yeah, love it. Love it to bits. You could even have it, like, slightly remodeled to resemble their images of divinity, the slightly alien edges and whatnot. Give it a slightly HR Giga biomechanical feeling.
Well, I was thinking more of it's just basically scrapped together.
Yeah,
so instead of going down that route, because the Genestealer cults don't really do the fusion of metal and flesh.
Oh, they do now.
Oh, yeah.
Have you read the current codex? They do now.
I'll rephrase, unless it's the bladed cog.
Yeah.
All right then. Okay, fine. I'll do that then.
They really do. For the 9th Ed Codex, it looks like they've really tried to go down that route with them.
Yes, they
like
are.
A lot of their machines and whatnot have like worms in them, like tyrannid worms and things. It's like, lovely, love it. It's almost like the System Shock 2 route,
Ooh. Well, that's a good shout, yeah.
It's got that feeling. The many, it's got that feeling about it. It's like, love it. Love it to bits.
The Demon Engine, by the way, that I was thinking of was the Blood Slaughterer.
The Blood Slaughterer, yeah, I remember that one. It's it looks kind of like a wheelbarrow these days.
True. I'm looking at like pictures of the current one, and it's just not as good.
No, it isn't. The old one has a bit of charm to it. It has this kind of a retro 80s charm to it.
I'm just looking there. I found the original one, and it's just like, yeah, man,
with its big silly wheels.
Yeah, I love it.
And its skinny little body. And its massive head.
Oh my god, I've just seen it.
Yeah, its massive head. What is that about?
I'm sorry, that head reminds me of Skeleton Warriors.
It does, yeah. Yeah, right?
He's so cool.
But I like the fact that both of the Knight codices are releasing pretty much around the same time. I mean, that gives me hope that they've at least given them equal time.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, very much so. I think the cool thing is that there's obviously going to be some kind of Titan versus Titan box.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, both releasing at the same time. That is going to be bloody expensive, but it's so fun to see.
Well, those really big miniatures are so costly anyway. It is going to be very expensive, that is.
I am going to have to keep an eye on the bits site for the birds.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I want those vultures.
I'm just having a look at the new Warhound now with his dog skull and everything. It's so cool. I love it. I love it to bits. I'm a big fan of the more sort of chaos tainted demon engines and machines that have got organic components and things like that. If it's going to be chaos, I want it to be corrupt.
Yeah.
I want it to be tainted, and these have got it going on. Love them.
I was going to ask as well, do you think that somewhere down the line then they will bring out more either attachments or a whole model where the majority is organic?
It wouldn't surprise me if that seems to be the way the Chaos Knights are going. I mean, if they ever go down the route of the original Chaos Knights, but way back in the old Epic days, Slaanesh exclusively. And they are very organic. They've got this sort of crustacean thing going on.
Ooh.
Which is really creepy and weird.
I don't remember which story it is, but do you remember there was a short story somewhere, probably Inferno, more likely to be in one of the Hammer and Bolter anthologies, where you had a knight and the front of it was just a big fleshy mount with the pilot sitting there, literally at the very front.
Yeah, nice.
It's in the sort of recliner pose, just dangling over all these miles of nothing.
Well, have you read the Chaos Knight books, the codices?
I've not actually, no.
They're very good. They go into detail about what happens to the pilots of a Chaos tainted knight, and it ain't good.
Ooh.
It is not good. A lot of them get subsumed into the knight itself and become part of it.
Love it.
So their personalities and their engrams and memories are still echoing around inside of the knight.
But that's just what happens in Knights, though. If you remember
it's generally,
the old comic Titan.
Yeah. The Throne Mechanicum, right? That's what it does, yeah? I mean, actually, the remains of the old pilots are still there, always still there, echoing around in the circuitry of the Knight.
That's the beautiful thing, isn't it? That you've got in a standard Knight, I don't know what the crew is, but you have got organic components inside this metal. So when organic elements start to show, especially with chaos and completely corrupting it, you've actually got a basis for that material being there in the first place.
It's very unpleasant to imagine the process by which that happens, isn't it?
Mm.
I know it's completely different, but something that's come to mind is there's an old X-Men cartoon, not cartoon, comic, way back in the day. I think it's one of the ones. I think it's Brood or something like that. It's one of during the late 80s where they did add in a few elements of horror, and there was an area where I think a whole area was taken over by a particular villain. And in the back of one shot, you saw some employees in this office. They were all in. Just before everything went wrong, they went and stepped into an elevator, and as the doors closed, you saw the walls come alive and just subsume all the people in the elevator. And it was about 4 issues later, right at the end, that you see these 4 people walking away because everything's been reversed. but it was the most horrific thing in the background of a comic
Yeah.
that wasn't answered immediately. And you had the good guys win and fight the bad guy, but these poor innocent victims had been subsumed. And since then, it was always a thing. It was like also as well things like the Philadelphia experiment, where when the time travel and you had the people literally half in, half out of the structure. And I love the idea. I know I'm a bit of a rant here, but I love the idea that the crew, and is it the Princeps?
That's it, the Princeps, yeah.
That he has decided to follow chaos. He has drawn his machine and his crew into this world, and yet it's the machine that was meant to be underneath him that has then gone, right, I'm now in charge. I am now dissolving you. And I think that's beautiful. I'd like to think that War Dog is a mutated form of that original pilot.
Yeah, it's a lovely concept. Lovely concept. I mean, there's a lot of detail in the current Chaos Knight Codex about the various ways in which knights and knightly households fall to the power of chaos. One of them is it's one called Incarnate Slaughter, and it was originally assigned to a system that was just swamped with the Tyranids. It was just swamped with them. And so it fought for so long against these endless swarms that the only imperative left pulsing through its circuitry was kill, 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 kill. And that's all that was left of it. It completely burnt out the mind of its pilot, and now that's all there is. It sank into the tides of gore that it made, and now it arises on planets where there is wholesale war from these lakes of blood. It's like an avatar of slaughter and carnage. It's just brilliant.
That's so cool.
Isn't it brilliant? I love it to bits, right?
That is a proper Balsa Goth image. Yeah, you can hear the black metal playing in the background.
It's great stuff.
Love it.
There are also like knightly households who just rejected the Imperium. There's one particular knightly household called Herpetrax, I believe it's called, and they weren't found by the Imperium until well late on, like after the Horus Heresy. And their response to the Imperium was, "Do you have any idea how many empires have come to us, telling us that they are, the last hope of humanity? This is the great emperor of mankind, and we've basically told them all to get stuffed."
Which, of course, the Imperium being the Imperium, will take that in good humour and walk away to leave people to live their lives.
No, of course not. And as a result, House Herpetrax are now obviously aligned with Chaos. Because they don't really have a choice in the matter.
Out of interest, just because we haven't mentioned it, what did you guys think of the video, the little announcement trailer?
Oh, what with the poor pilot?
Yeah, because honestly, that for some reason that got me. The way it changed over or something, I went, "Oh God, that's horrible!" It hit me in a way that I don't think anything else has in this kind of stuff. I got a very visceral reaction from that poor pilot going from "I'm leading this thing to battle" to "I'm now hanging here." Don't know what it was, but it did it very well.
There's a very wonderful strain of sort of science fiction horror in the Knights, as you find pretty much throughout 40k whenever technology turns up. But it's peculiarly emphasized. They're like, even the Imperial ones are effectively big walking tombs of the dead.
Yeah.
And they slowly and insidiously do drive their pilots mad. It's almost like the fall to chaos, or at least to insanity, is inevitable with these things.
When you think about what they are and how they operate, it's like, how can anybody survive? How can anybody keep any form of intelligence?
And also you consider as well the houses of those pilots. And I mean, you've obviously heard the lore videos that a few people have put out recently, just where they've collated all the information on these houses and just how depraved some of them are.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that more of them don't already start off fully in the pocket of chaos.
Yeah. It's no wonder, is it, really? You could definitely see how it happens.
Speaking of things that unsettled me greatly, I have been going through Hallowed Ground. which is the Warhammer horror novel about the Van Denst witch hunters.
Oh, yes, I like those.
Yes. I won't spoil anything, but it's probably I'm going to say the worst use of undead I've ever come across.
Oh, really?
By worst, I mean, no, please keep that to yourself. No, thank you, no, I'm going to turn this off and I'm going to go sit somewhere where it's sunny and there is a light room.
Oh, as in horrific?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I thought you meant when you said worst, I thought crap.
I realised when I said it I'd used the wrong word.
Not very good.
No, it is. The book itself, it's really good. Yeah, it's. The problem is that Black Library have been smashing it out of the park recently.
There's been some good stuff, hasn't there?
It's been incredible. Like some truly incredible, really superb books. This is a really good Warhammer book. Okay? That's the best way I can describe it is it isn't hitting the high points of Gothgirl Hollow or Day of Ascension, but it is a very good book and I recommend it. Right?
Excellent.
I'm not going to get into why it freaked me out as bad as it did because I think that's unfair. I don't want to spoil things because it is quite new. But if anybody out there comes across the Necromancer and what he's got with him, let me know how you reacted. Especially towards the end of the book when you get to the river and no, too far. No, stop that. No, do not like.
Did any of you guys see the Necromunda stuff from Adepticon?
The Ash Waste.
It's brilliant. It's just absolutely wonderful. I am so tempted to get that box because these guys, I love them.
I thought they did an incredible job. It's a great concept, take it out into the wastes, get vehicles involved. But
it's
also
always been there, like in the background. There's always been material about what is out beyond Necromunda itself, what the world looks like.
Yeah.
But it's never really taken it out of the city. I
love the terrain that they've released.
Oh, the Ewok village.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. There's going to be people that just combine that with a bunch of wickets.
Yeah.
And 3PO on the throne.
Mm-hmm.
See, what I saw when I looked at it was have that, combine it with the more industrial, less gothic stuff from the Imperial sets, and I have myself a Caradhran Overlord city.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
And it helps that you get a Bugman with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, these miniatures are something else. I'm just sort of passing through them now, and they're beautiful. The amount of detail on these guys is bonkers.
Andy.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you that appeared in my mind when this first hit.
Oh, no.
You see the general look of ash wastes and everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Are we talking about the figures or the material, the scenery? What we're talking about?
The figures, scenery,
all of it. Okay.
Did you think, we've gone to Gorka Morka supplements without ever actually hitting Gorka Morka?
Oh yeah, definitely. I thought this would be a good time to introduce some orcs in the Gorka Morka style, and then an Ograf would be very happy.
Pretty much. I mean, these guys they've definitely got a Gorka Morka thing going on.
To be fair, you could use them, I think, pretty easily as like chaos cultists as well.
Oh, they'd be perfect. That's what I was thinking, actually. Yeah. If you wanted to get this set and convert them into chaos cultists, or even like a very niche Imperial Guard regiment, they'd be fine for that.
Genestealer cults as well, they work very easily for as well.
Yep.
Yeah, they work in Genestealer cults.
Especially with the bug mounts, you could just add a few like spare Tyranid bits on them and then boom.
Actually, I mean, I think for Genestealer cults, these guys would be just beautiful.
I think head swaps, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
Maybe some young girl Terminator heads put on the boats.
You could even use their vehicles as like what are they called, Jackalan Outriders or something?
That's what I'm thinking, because the problem I've got with the stuff that they have in the Genestealer cult is a lot of it looks a little too new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, boss, this stuff looks so banged up.
Like ramshackle, stitched together from bits and pieces.
I'm putting the flag down on this hill. I fucking love the ash wastes.
Me too. Amazing. I've got to say, the more I look at it, and the bug riders in particular, I think are spectacular.
I mean, it's bug riders.
Yeah.
And I want to paint them up in Kamen Rider hose colours. Right. In any other time, this would be the one that I lose my shit over, and I just rant continuously about how much I love it, because they are giant bugs with Dune-esque people riding the back of them, with chainsaw spears. I mean, chainsaw spears. Yes, give me that. And they've all got like these Arabian Night style head wraps, and they've got this beautiful. So on the back of them, they've got this curved metal with the flag that comes off it, right? Point one, we're going to see some amazing designs free painted onto the back of those flags, I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
Two, how much does that look like it's something that they found on some kind of like Eldar ship that they've just stolen?
Yeah, right.
Right? There is so much work and heavy lifting being done by the sculpting to tell a story of what these guys are, these scavengers. Yeah. So much so, my first thought was actually putting rat heads on them and using them as the Space Skaven, as the Harud, because that idea is just there. You can just do it. It works. There is so much I love about these Bug Rider guys that I think they're incredible.
They are stunning minis, aren't they?
Up until yesterday, these would have been like models of the year for me. So far, I know we're not even halfway through the year yet, but honestly, I'm absolutely in love with them. I think they're amazing.
Speaking of amazing models, I mean the Nighthaunt guy.
Oh yes,
whose name I can't pronounce.
Tibbet from Elden Ring, you mean?
Yes, that's exactly who he is, right?
Yeah,
it's exactly who he is.
I don't know how they managed to do it, but they made a model of a game character, and the game hadn't even clearly came out by that point. But it is Tibbet.
Even like the theme of him is exactly the same.
The only thing I don't think he has is he doesn't have a trumpet, and I'm pretty sure Tibbet does.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, Tibbet does because he hits you with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Is anyone else struggling to pronounce his name? I think it's meant to be Aurak, but I can't help but calling him Ulrich.
Ulrich, like?
Ulrich, I'm here to drown you.
Don't even see his name. Oh, there it is. Awlrach. Yeah, that's the silly name.
Aurach. Maybe.
Boaty McBoatface.
Yes, I like Boaty McBoatface. I'll go for that.
Boaty McDeathhead.
Or Skelly McSkullface, or...
Are the ghosts around the bottom of his boat, like, giving him his coins back because he's got really bad pockets? He's got holes in his pockets and his coins just keep dropping out.
I think what it is, right, they're all like, they're trying to put Ferrero Rochers back into his
no.
thing. He's off to see the ambassador.
Yeah, he's off to really impress. It's like, you lost a Ferrero Rocher. You need to be middle class or high to have these.
Oh, no, Ulrich. How are you supposed to get the ambassador on side?
But I love his theme as well, don't you?
You've done big Game Boy.
I mean, this is something they should have been doing with the Nighthaunt really from the beginning, like having representatives of different types of death, right? Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? And that's what this guy is by all accounts. He's almost like the manifestation of death by drowning.
My only minor criticism would be it's another character for the Nighthaunt, and the Nighthaunt are rampant with characters.
Yes, there's a lot of them in there.
There's a ridiculous amount of them. Hopefully they'll all have different effects and different benefits, and they won't be like, oh, well, you never take this guy because he's shit.
Yeah.
But that we need to wait until the Codex, the new Battle Tome comes out, because at the moment none of this really matters at the moment. They're just very cool looking models.
Mm-hmm. Although we have had some hints, haven't we? Like we know that some of the long range units can now shoot like through terrain and whatnot, which is absolutely brilliant.
Oh, well, it has to, because they've got pretty pathetic range. The range isn't that good on them, so they have to have something to kind of counteract that.
Yeah. But no, I'm looking forward to this book. I really hope it is. I mean, thus far, all of the battle tomes for 3rd Ed AOS have been good.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they've been very good. So let's hope, because it'll be the first time the Nighthaunt have been any good at all.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
With this new book, we've got effectively 3 new units. We've got this guy, we've got the scribe guy, and that's very much a case of who knows when that's going to get an individual release, because I know the box... Is the box out now for them?
No.
Next week.
Sure. Next week.
Next week, okay. So who knows how long he'll take to come out on his own? Probably a very long time. And then the archers, which again, I think they'll be out before the scribe guy on his own, just because you can build them up. But that's 3 new units. I wonder if there'll be any more, or if that's it, and then it'll just be number tweaking and rule tweaking for them.
Lore-wise, I've got a question. And I don't think anyone will have an actual answer.
Oh, right, okay.
But it's just an idea. So, is the reason that there's so many characters that they are these named people, these like famous dead, shall we say, are kind of just drawn to anywhere where there is a large amount of Night Haunt or Undeath or anything like that?
We're talking about a lore reason, right? Rather than a corporate reason.
Right.
So we know that Lady Oleander's remains are kept safe in a great big crystal coffin. We know that because Be'lakor went and tried to meddle with it. Yes. So I wonder if all of these guys have their bodies kept somewhere sacred and safe, and they just kind of appear everywhere. Because it is weird when you think that the Night Haunt have this many characters. I know that they are well and above every other army for these special characters. So from a lore point of sense, it seems weird that there's this many named people, these famous, I don't want to say famous, there must be some kind of word you can use for it. These like avatars of them that just keep appearing again and again and again.
Well, it may be...
The suggestion be like in Lady of Sorrow that maybe Lady Olinda or some other necromancer, someone's just keeping them in like mirror prisons or something like that.
I mean, it may just be that is the only way to get character into an army like the Night Haunt. I mean, one of the problems with the undead, of course, is that you don't have, in the masses of the army, the basic troops, you don't have any personalities.
No, true.
They're all just revenants, aren't they? They're mindless. So the character has to come from the named characters.
Yeah.
And that may be why there's so many.
Is that something that's... Because I'm not too familiar, obviously, with this side of things, but is that something as well that's also prevalent with Necrons, where they try and big up more individual characters?
Actually,
the line troops are a bit...
Yes, it is. The Necrons have a ton of named characters, an absolute ton of them.
Well, they have a ton, but none of them you can buy anymore because
most of them are fine cast or but no, they do have a disproportionate amount of characters. They do.
Interesting.
Even more so these days, because of course we've got 2 new ones recently. So yeah. I'm just looking at the, the Harrow Deep Sorcerer. I think it's a necromancer, isn't it, of some description? And do you realize how many Genestealer Cult Magus conversions there are going to be of this character? Of this
you barely need to do anything.
You don't need to do a damn thing with it. You don't need to remodel it. You don't need to add anything to it. It's already like a Genestealer Cult Magus, right?
Oh yeah, it's like 87% of the way there. You just have to put the bit on it.
And everything. It's got everything going for it.
It is bizarre.
It's a lovely miniature as well. I mean, it's a really gorgeous piece of work.
I hate this warband.
Really? You're not a fan of this one?
I hate it. I think they had... When they showed the original one with the big Frankenstein crypt horror arm, I thought there was so much potential, and I think it's wasted. I don't think they've really done anything special to any of these minor zombies. So you got a lady who's holding a knife and just a backpack that's like, okay. You've just got a basic warrior. You've got one with 2 like electrodes coming out of his shoulder, and then you've just got 2 more basic ones. I think if you're doing something which we assumed was kind of Dr. Frankenstein,
right?
They've not hit the marks of like what you could have done. They don't have those monstrosities. These are very basic looking zombies with a few little bits to them.
Yeah,
I definitely see
very
that.
little there.
It's a shame, really, because like you say, there was a lot of potential here. I mean, it looked like, I think what we spoke about when we first saw the miniatures is, are they going to go down the route of having like semi-mechanical components? sort of woven through or strapped to the zombies, and they haven't really done that, have they?
No, I mean, don't get me wrong, the miniatures are sculpted very well. They look
they're
nice.
fine. For what they are, the miniatures themselves are fine. It's just that, and also, how many undead armies are there in Harrow Deep and all the other all the other smaller games now? There are so many of them.
Well, in all honesty, they're about balanced in terms of what's got what. It's fairly balanced in all honesty.
These guys are not that distinct, are they?
No, when you put them against everybody else, they kind of put this against the Crimson Court.
Right. Of course.
If you brought these out, say, 10 years ago, would these have stood out more in terms of sculpting amongst armies? And is it now the fact that the bar is now so high as well, that although these are adequate, in comparison, they pale?
I think that's exactly it, to be honest. And we've had so many.
Adequate, but obviously,
I think the problem lies with it at a base conceptual level. They just haven't, when the idea was formed, they haven't gone far enough with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was expecting Warhammer Abominations.
Yeah.
The from Warcraft 3, and some other game that people seem to think is popular. I can't remember what that's called. I was expecting that kind of thing, like having proper monsters, proper undead monsters.
And maybe stitched with skaven heads and limbs and orc body parts and stuff like that.
Imagine a zombie with it's got a grot head and it's got one orc arm and then its other arm is like a tentacle taken from an octopus. You've got like 3 tentacles coming out the other side, and it's got that real horrible look. One leg's longer than the other, so it's having to stand in this weird way. You could do all sorts. Maybe one of them, it's holding its own head, or its head's been stitched onto its arm or something.
The comedy one, you could have like a normal looking zombie, but it's had a dwarven beard stitched onto it. And it's very obviously just stitched on. So it's like, oh, that's your funny one. What's the mutant thing with him? Oh, he's just got a dwarf beard. Isn't that silly?
He looks like a normal zombie until you turn it around and he's hollow from the inside. And there's just a little mite or something controlling him.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah. Kind of like the aliens from Men in Black.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say like the aliens from the Eddie Murphy film Dave.
No, why? Why would I bring up Dave? Who ever brings up that movie?
Me, just then, because I'm a monster.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody who was trying to, as a sculptor, get Games Workshop's eye, maybe do their own version of these characters and actually max them up. Actually make stuff that's really distinctive, and then you'll see it on a post on, this guy has taken on this group from Games Workshop and see how he does. Because I think that would be a great calling card for a sculptor who wanted to get noticed.
Yeah, it is a particular shame given what the undead have had recently with things like the Cursed City sculpts and all the stuff from the Soulblight Gravelords and whatnot, which have all been fantastic, like really characterful, really interesting. They do fall a bit flat, this set. It's kind of a shame.
Do you think the basic zombies that you can get now look more interesting than this set? Because I think they do.
Yes. I think they do, definitely. Yeah, there's more going on, isn't there? They just seem more characterful and more distinct.
Okay, Andy, you've won a prize, right?
Oh, okay.
So you've entered a competition and you've won a prize. Your prize is either a zombie army made of these guys, just repeat it until you get a full zombie unit, or the old multi-kit kit.
I'll take the multi-kit kit because there's more options.
It's fun. Yeah,
there's more options. They look derpy and silly, but there's way more options. I'll just take that.
You could make an entire person out of feet.
Quentin Tarantino's ears just pricked up.
Oh no.
Did I ever tell you guys about the idea I had for making the Tarantino dice?
Do we even want to know?
So you get 2 dice, and I was going to try and make these and sell them. One dice just has the words, I want to make movies. And then the other dice says, about feet, and you have to roll them to see what you're going to do. And it's just, I'm going to make movies about feet. And that's how you play the Quentin Tarantino dice game.
Now, I'm a bit confused about this Thondia thing, the Realm of Beasts thing. Is it the new narrative campaign for AOS? Is that what it is?
Yes. So
I thought so. Right.
How I understand it is, so each season of war, which is going to be, it's like what they're doing in 40k with war zones.
Oh, got you. Right.
Okay. So they're just going to have these things happen. And it's going to be pushing the narrative forward slightly, and it's going to be, I think it's 3 a year.
Right, so not quite as profoundly as Broken Realms did then.
No, nowhere near.
Which makes sense because you can't do that every year.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it takes
You'd be
2
changing
years
the game all the time, wouldn't you?
Yeah. It would take 2 years to get something like Broken Realms stuff out. You can't do it every year. What does everyone think of the Kron Spine?
Oh, the sort of skeletal spirit dragon thing. I don't know. I don't know whether it's one of those miniatures where it would look better in real life or viewed from different angles, or whether it's just the photography. It looks a little awkward, a little strange.
If Korn designed amusement parks, this would be the Helter Skelter.
Wouldn't it?
I find it really bland. And I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on what it is. It's something about it, and it just doesn't fit for me. It doesn't work. I think the problem is that after the endless spell stuff, and some of those endless spells were amazing, what they managed to achieve with those bits of plastic was incredible. This looks too solid.
Yeah.
So what should be the amber energy swirling around, it looks like hair.
I see what you mean. It looks almost like fluid, or it has a physical manifestation. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think that's more of an issue with the paint job rather than the sculpt?
That might be
that's
it.
The sculpt?
I don't know how you could paint it differently because the strands are so thick. So I just reminded early on we were talking about the Turkish Delight advert and how I wanted to see people do adverts. Go to Patreon, you might hear about that. The words arcing jet were used. But anyhow,
I think you could do it if you used you know how they do the Nighthorn scribe color where he's mainly white and then he's got a little bit of blue and then on the raised edges it gets whiter and whiter. I think that might.
So it looks like it's
help out.
Like it's made out of energy or fire rather than fluid, which is slightly odd, isn't it?
It does look a little bit like Mustard's making him up.
Yes.
or like Cadbury's caramel.
Yes, yeah. It's what you get when you break open the cubes of a Cadbury's caramel, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, that's what you get.
I think below the ribs as well, it's only vertebrae. There's nothing else. It'd be nice if you kind of want wings, maybe not full wings, or just something to break it up, because it looks quite clean and tidy when it's meant to be a vortex.
Right, and it is also supposed to be like the manifest savagery of the realm, isn't it? Of Gur itself, the realm of beasts. So something a bit more redolent of the creatures that you would find there, like multiple different beast skulls or something like that.
That's it. That's what's bothering me. Thank you, Mr. White. You've hit it. Well, both Mr. White and Mr. George, you've hit it right on the head. Right. So the problem is there is nothing here that makes me think of inherent savagery. There is nothing here that makes me think of the bestial nature of Gur.
Yeah.
It looks like it's trying to catch a waiter's attention for making an order. It isn't monstrous. It isn't bestial. It's just there.
Maybe if it seems more redolent of Shyish to me.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking the cane spells. It looks similar to the blood serpent thingy as well, a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Imagine that model on a base that had debris almost floating up in the air in the center and had carnage around it, so that it was rising up through carnage, as opposed to what it's looking at now. And I know I think they're action rocks on the ground, but to me it looks almost like dark leaves, and you're getting no sense of any swirling vortex. It almost looks like this is gently, smoothly cycling up from the ground. So it almost feels like it's in some sort of Japanese garden.
It's more languid, right? Yeah, rather than savage. I mean, funnily enough, if you just go up the page, the artwork
is beautiful.
Is great. They inspired it is amazing and looks exactly like what it's supposed to be.
I was just about to say, go up and look at the artwork and just That thing looks like Godzilla's trying to reconstitute himself from his component parts. You know, there is so much energy in that picture.
Yeah.
But if you look, there's like fire coming off it. Well, I'm assuming it's amber energy coming off him.
I think that's what it's supposed to be.
And then you look at the miniature, and there isn't that amber energy feel.
No.
It's so hard to get my finger on what I'm trying to say.
I mean,
There's a big
hopefully...
disconnect between the artwork and the model. It doesn't look like they're the same thing.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'm hoping the book is good, because, I mean, one thing AOS 3rd Ed is been really needing is a narrative shot in the arm.
Oh, it needs something. Bloody hell.
I've just realised the artwork. The artwork doesn't look like the sculpture. It looks more like it looks more like the skull of the piece of item that you can get as display extras as the as the thing on the ground.
Yeah, slightly weird. I mean, hopefully this book does move the narrative forward a little bit. That's what I'm hoping for. You know, something a little bit more interesting. Because although the battle tomes have been very good, the problem we've had is that AOS 3rd Ed, after the incredible drama of Broken Realms, has just stopped.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like judded to a halt, hasn't it, a little bit?
It just went to sleep. It's a massive issue I've got with it, to be honest with you. All the momentum of AOS has just died a death.
Which is a shame, because a lot was built up from the Broken Realms, a hell of a lot.
I've said it multiple times now. Broken Realms is the best stuff Games Workshop have ever released in a book.
I think so, yeah. It's definitely the best campaign series they've ever released. Because it's fun to read, right? It's really fun to read. Hopefully, I mean, fingers crossed, that level maintains throughout these campaign books.
Oh, hopefully. It better bloody out or I am going to riot. Christ almighty. I never thought I'd have an episode of the Fluffenhammer where I'd be more excited for a Warhammer 40,000 thing than an AOS thing.
Right. I mean, kind of tangentially related. Did you see the Horus Heresy video? We've got Horus striding around.
Oh my God.
Isn't it? I think it's Istvan that he's striding around. It's really good, isn't it? It's an excellent video, and Horus actually looks great in it.
Oh, he looks so badass.
He looks great. I don't know why. I've always had issues whenever they've tried to portray the Primarchs like this, but this works really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's telling as well that he wasn't speaking the lines.
No.
And I think that was almost better. I think it was because you just got then that imposing face.
Yeah.
And you can see the madness behind it, but you're not seeing anything else. And that poor old, was it an Imperial Fist?
Yeah, I think it was.
One-armed Imperial Fist, and he's like, yeah, it's Horus. I've got one arm. I think I can take him. I mean, the beauty, and nobody has mentioned this yet, in that video, Horus skewers that Marine, never looks at him, never considers him. And as he's walking forward, doesn't consider him. Even when he throws him, he's that far above that these are gnats to him.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. A lot of people, of course, got extremely excited and said, hey, why don't you make this as a movie? And it's like, well, it's because it's so ridiculously expensive.
Right.
You'd never be able to recoup the cost. However, it is I think, something that if they were more focused and directed their animation teams towards, that you could take tiny slices of this. You know, like a chamber piece, like 2 or 3 characters, and you could work with that. So it'd be interesting to see how they support this in both audio and in animation.
Because it looks like they are giving it the big push, doesn't it? It looks like they want this to be the big third game system, right?
Yeah.
Which it probably could be. I mean, Horus Heresy is popular enough. It is popular enough now. If they're going to release it all in plastic, if it's going to be like a big dedicated game system, then I could see it really competing.
And it's very easy to market because it's just Space Marines versus
It's just Space Marines, right? And it's the 2 favorite factions. It's Space Marines and Chaos. It's the ones that everybody loves just together, right?
Yep.
And also it has that narrative hook as well. I mean, so many people like the Horus Heresy era for its narrative, its mythology. So, yeah. It's all very promising. I mean, it doesn't interest me as a game system. I've got to say I like it just for the narrative stuff. I'm more interested in what's going on now in the present day 40k, you know?
Well, what do you mean by you're not interested in a game system?
It doesn't interest. I wouldn't be collecting miniatures from it or anything like that.
Not even like Emperor's Children kind of.
No, because I'm not interested in what the Emperor's Children are doing at this point. I'm interested in what they're doing now. You know.
Would you not even want the minis to just like incorporate in the armies because you can
maybe
do that
for conversions? Yeah, maybe
you probably wouldn't even need to convert them to be fair.
No. Conversion of material and whatnot is fine, but it's the same thing I have with like the impending release of the Old World. I'm not interested. I'm only interested in like an abstract way, and I like the fact that it's being done for people who want some semblance of the old Warhammer Fantasy Battle, right? Mm-hmm. I'm interested in what's happening in Age of Sigmar, because that's the present day. That's what's happening now. That interests me far, far more. That said, these new miniatures for the Horus Heresy are lovely.
They are.
They're really good. This new character model, the Praetor. Mm. Whoa.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually, because there's no way of putting this without sounding like an ass. So I'll just go ahead with it. I honestly thought that it was going to just be a bit of a lazy release, just to get the miniatures out there, just to get the thing done, so to speak. So I'm very happy to see that they've actually done full beaky, full all the time, brand new miniature sculpts, and they're all references to RTB01.
Yeah.
And that's incredible. And that makes me very happy.
I do wonder. I know we missed it. We were going to have a talk about this back in January when the financial stuff came out.
Oh yeah.
But it was very clear the GW are very, very much behind schedule on what they want to put out, and the stuff that they've had to bide their time. And I do wonder how long they've had this. And how frustrating it must be because they put their effort towards this. And of course, then after that, there's been a bit of a dearth of stuff coming out. So there must be a lot of relief there. And the fact that, they put some stuff out. Obviously, they put the cinematic out. But I'd imagine they might have wanted to stick out a couple more models with this as well and go, here's this and here's the reality. But they've just not been able to do it.
Yeah,
I know that's guessing, by the way, guys. I appreciate that. It really does it ties in with a lot of the stuff that I got in the reports where they're just sitting there twiddling their thumbs going, look, can we please sort Brexit out and then we can get on with this stuff?
Yeah. And it's such a shame, isn't it? I'm sure by this point they imagined there would be so much more out there to excite people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a weird one because it does feel like things haven't ran very well recently.
Let's just say it's more, I would say, on a larger international.
Yes,
so in terms of how GW and itself they're sort of running their business. A lot of the things are going really well, like the stuff in America, the workshops, the development of the internal stuff, all good. It's stuff outside of their control.
Their control,
of course, yeah.
And to be honest as well, that when they did something, sorry, I don't want to get too, I know you guys want to continue with all of this, but back in January, back last year actually, GW said, hey, we're going to have some problems because of Brexit, which is the most common sense thing that a company has said. Unfortunately, because they were one of the few to be honest, they have suffered in the last 6 months through a negative spiral where you've seen the share price drop and all of that. And people have gone, there's problems at GW. No, everything they said would happen. It has happened.
Right.
But it means that they're not fazed by it because the problems they said were going to happen are there, but they're dealing with it. So this is great because it means that they've been delayed, but they now get to move forward. I know, like, I've spoken to Andy about like Curse City and the other things that have been very negative against GW, but it now looks as though at least they're finally getting on board. Also, as well, let's face it, animation is hugely expensive, but at least you can do it remotely. And maybe they're finally realizing, maybe we should amp up that Warhammer Plus content because you can work from home.
Right, yeah.
At some point, I'm going to have to sit down with you guys and discuss my feelings on Warhammer Plus because I
thought you were going to say discuss your feelings on Brexit. Then I was going to say.
I think my feelings on
don't.
Brexit are well documented.
Yeah.
My feelings on Brexit, Jared Leto's Morbius, and and other things are well documented. But I've never really discussed Warhammer Plus, and I think that might be something that would be.
Haven't you only just recently fully invested in it?
No, I've had it since day one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I got it on release because I want my orc.
Have you had it yet? Have you got
No,
it?
not yet.
Oh my god.
We're not,
Is it
not
6
a year
months for you to get that, or a year?
yet. A year. You've got to be a subscriber for a year to get your free miniature.
Oh, wow.
All right, fair enough.
Which, when you think about it, I think because I went for the early adopter one, it was £32, something like that, £38 over the year because I did it monthly.
Right.
No, actually, I didn't. I paid for it all at once, which actually knocked even more money off it. It was cheaper to do all at once. So 25 quid of that is the price of the orc. And then I get all the other stuff on top of it.
Okay.
Which is how I kind of look at it, and that's all right by me. Now, what next year's free miniature choice will be, I think will definitely sway whether or not I keep it or not.
Yeah.
Because if it's something I can't use or I don't intend to use or don't like the idea of painting, I'm not going to go for it. Yeah, I have very convoluted feelings when it comes to Warhammer Plus.
Yeah.
And this is not the time or the place to do it.
As a diversion, then, did you guys catch the little teaser at the end of the Adepticon stuff?
The Chaos Marine.
The Chaos stuff. Yay! God, they've put this one off for a long time, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I you know what? Couldn't be happier about it. Couldn't be happier about the fact that they put them off, because there has been a tendency over the last 3 or 4 editions to use the Chaos Space Marines as the test bed army. They've always come out at the beginning of the editions, and they've always suffered for it. Always. Now, it looks like, from what we've seen, again, this is one of those codices where almost everything has been leaked from it, it seems. It looks really good. And in terms of the miniatures, we're getting a ton. There's a ton of stuff here.
Yeah.
There's, in this teaser, you can see Possessed. There are new Possessed there. There are new, military Chaos cultists, like Chaos Renegades. There are new Chaos Mutants, which are a new unit we're going to get, apparently. There are going to be, little mutants and big mutants in the same unit. There's some new character there of some description who's like a cultist leader or like a renegade leader.
Jared Leto.
There's a theme to this episode, clearly. It's looking really promising. It really is looking good. It may be for the first time ever, the mainstream Chaos Space Marines have some real presence for the first time in many, 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 many years. They are one of the armies that's needed it for a long time. So I'm very excited by this. And the rumors that we've seen, which is basically I actually have been keeping you guys up with all of the rumors. There's just tons of stuff out there. We know stuff about the way the Chaos Legions are being organized, the way they're being represented. We know about the way the Chaos Marks work and the demonic gifts and all of that stuff. We know a couple of the stratagems and whatnot. We know about how the psychic powers work. It looks good.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see that when it hits, just where in the rankings it ends up.
There's some people are already looking at the builds you can make from just the rules that we've gotten, the leaks that we've gotten, and you know where people are going? Iron Warriors. Again, it's almost like 3.5 all over again, right? Apparently the Iron Warriors are looking really bloody good.
That makes me super happy, and I don't know why.
Me too. Apparently they've got the way they've organized this codex is that the Chaos Legions have doctrines in the same way that the Imperial ones do, but they're corrupted versions. And one of the Iron Warriors doctrines is vile. They just ignore the effects of cover. Completely ignore the effects of cover. That is mental in 9th Ed.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is that's a superpower in 9th Ed. It's like That's
insane.
Tau levels of insanity, you know? Tau railgun levels of insanity. That is the kind of rule that changes the dynamic of a battlefield.
Yeah,
It's
that's mental.
It's very cool. The other one that people are really looking at is word bearers.
All right.
The word bearers have some very interesting rules, apparently. One of their doctrines, which looks, I don't know whether it's been misrepresented because it looks pretty damn powerful, is that they get, you know, the classic sort of exploding dice. So when you roll a 6 to hit or to wound, you get an extra attack or you inflict an extra wound. They inflict extra mortal wounds when they roll a 6 to hit in close combat, which is pretty damn good.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good.
Wowza. Okay, that's going to be a bit of a bastard.
The thing that I really love, do you know how the Black Legion, the background of the Black Legion has changed a little bit recently, whereby they are not just the remnants of the old Sons of Horus, they are actually like a coalition of renegades and different legions. They have a stratagem, a custom stratagem, that allows a unit to use the doctrines of another legion for one round.
Oh, wow.
Awesome, right? How awesome is that?
That's mental.
It's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I mean, from what we've seen, this codex looks awesome. It looks really good. So fingers crossed, eh?
So as time's getting on, should we get on to the last thing of the night?
Well, we might as well wrap up. I mean, we've been on long enough.
Shall we talk about the big thing? The one that...
I'm going to talk about something hairy, and I want to talk
the big
about
small thing.
Yeah,
that thing. I'd almost forgotten about it.
I want to talk about something hairy. I want to talk about something bearding. I want to talk about Norse Blood Bowl.
Nobody wants to talk about that.
I don't know, actually, because, hey, Andy, have you noticed that the blockers look like they fit right next to Rannikar from Curse City?
Not really, because I'm not really into the wolves. I'm more into just pure vampires.
Okay.
Actually, they do, don't they? If you were making a Verkos vampire army, these guys would be great.
Yeah, and the actual just guys, that would be a really good base for making a free guild or a Cities of Sigmar army out of.
Yeah, they're cool.
Something a bit more civilized barbarian. Yeah,
they're very nice human sculpts, aren't they?
Yeah,
very nice human sculpts. They've got great thighs.
And he can't lies. One of them really likes his pies, and they come with pigs, and that makes me happy. So
pig bombs.
Yep. So there is no way in hell I'm not buying these because they come with pigs.
They come with pigs.
And I need these pigs for my orcs.
I've only just seen the pigs, and the one in the helmet makes me very happy.
He's amazing. I'm going to call him Sir Bartholomew, and he shall be my favourite man ever.
I may get one of those as a Chaos Familiar for one of my Thousand Sun sorcerers.
Well, what you want to do is get one of them and then replace the pig's head with one of the human heads. That'd be amazing. But yeah, all right. So let me cast your eyes back in time, right? Let us begin to peel away the sides of history and look back at April the 1st. 3 days ago now, okay, which I know may be a bit difficult. I can't believe it's only been 3 days, but all right. April 1st comes around, a day where, for the most part, various companies decide, for reasons that are still to this day unbeknown to me, to try and be funny and fail miserably.
Mm-hmm.
Games Workshop release a little trailer that looks like it's a new Space Hulk game.
Mm-hmm.
It ends with a squat. An actual, real-life, everyday, now in 40k squat. And they make a big thing about...
Honest to God, yeah.
Yeah, there's a big thing about being the newest faction. Everyone kind of goes, oh, April 1st. But there's enough in that video to keep people guessing, and the conversation hits fever pitch. 24 hours later, they release another video saying it's real and it's happening, and people lose their minds.
Yeah,
when you say people,
Mm-hmm.
who do you mean? You?
No, not just me. not just me. My Twitter lit up.
Yeah,
like
have you been onto like the Bolter and Chainsword or the Daka Daka forums? People are going fucking nuts.
The 40k squat group on Facebook is hilarious at the moment. It is literally just people screaming. Yeah, my Twitter feed literally just went nuts.
Yeah, YouTube, all of the 40k channels on YouTube. It's all there. It's all there. People are doing like the background of the squats, the history of the squats, etc.
It is
40 thrilling facts about squats.
You up short.
Where they've basically taken the Wikipedia and chopped it up into 40 pieces.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's no fun. It was an absolute masterclass in how to get traction.
Yeah.
Before we even get into the squats themselves, it was so well done. They did just enough. I think any more either way, and it wouldn't have worked.
In terms of marketing, they've pulled a blinder on this one. People are really in. They're in.
Yeah, absolutely. They released it. I love the article that they put out. It was an honest mistake that absolutely anyone could have made. Bullshit.
Yeah, right.
Absolute knackers.
Yeah.
No, this was planned, and it was brilliant, and I take my hat off to GW for it, because it is so well done. And then they released it, and it's an actual squat. Though they're not called the squats anymore, they're now the Leagues of Votan. I misread it as the Leagues of Voltan to start with, and I couldn't help but think of the Birdman from Flash.
Yeah, Brian Blessed, all the way.
The guy they did one of them. He's got metal legs, and he is ace.
He's brilliant, isn't he? He's a lovely miniature.
I'm in love. I'm actually in love. I think this is a brilliant, because there is a more hard sci-fi look to this dude than there is that you normally find in 40k. There's more akin to the Tau, but it's still got that Imperial feel.
Yeah,
it's just an incredible sculpt. Where the hell do I even freaking begin? Right, okay, the hardvac suit. I love the fact that it looks like it's very utilitarian. I'm so excited I can't get my words to work. It looks like it would work. It doesn't have any of the imperialistic over design to it. It doesn't have any of the high gothic feel. It is, here is the thing that I wear to not die in space.
Yep.
Ta-da. It is so brilliantly. What it reminds me of all things, is Outland, the Sean Connery space western.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it's got a real 70s armor, like spacesuit look to it. I'm hoping that we're going to see ones that have the actual helmets attached. Because if they're not bubble helmets, I'm going to be really upset.
Well, I do love the notion that what they could do with the Leagues of Votan is really provide an alternative to sort of like the bullshit mythologies of the Imperium.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that their technology is basically superstition. It's basically magic at this point, isn't it? It's occultism. These guys don't look like it's going to be anything to do with that. These guys are not going to have notions of like machine spirits or anything like that. It's going to be much more utilitarian for them. It's just technology. Right?
Absolutely. And there's two things that really I wanted to say whilst we were here. One, if you go back 6 months, you'll find out that one of the things that I was thinking of when I built my own squats was I wanted to try and make technology without the imperialistic ritual. And I wanted to make like scrap builders without it looking orky. It is really weird for me that a month after I finished building my fucking squats, they announced actual squats.
Of course.
And they've taken that idea and run with it.
Of course.
In the same way that I built my Oryx to be beast hunters, and they make the Krill boys, and I made a fucking Chaos Android army, and they released the Necrons. I'm not saying that this is starting to really get to me now.
You've had 3. Where are my Emperor's children, goddammit?
He hasn't made an army for them yet.
Not yet, god damn it. Oh well. I'll wait.
There were leaks, I think, a year or so back that did get put around a bit that squats were coming, and of course, because squats are coming is not something that is not a rare thing to hear, but they said at the time as well that the Men of Iron
Yep.
That was
might be coming back. And in this, because, you think, well, they spent the money on the promo, which is the thing that I think caused everyone to discuss this so much, because you couldn't decide. It's like, that's way too expensive to be a cheap joke.
Yeah.
But also the fact that you think, well, they spent that much money on it, they'd spend that much time looking at the text, and they put in an odd phrase. Unlike their superstitious human cousins, the League emerged from the Age of Strife with far more of their ancient technology intact, including some infamous advances the Imperium would consider extremely heretical. Well, nobody uses those two words like that. I think that is them trying to be smug and say AI.
It is. So the Chaos androids that existed in Rogue Trader were built by Chaos squads, which means that the original squads would have been building actual androids.
Actual androids, yeah.
Which means Men of Iron.
Yeah, robots, effectively. That's going to be very interesting.
Well,
sorry, Adam, go on.
The whole lot, because, one of the things, George, I completely agree with you as well in the idea that, and I think a lot of people are saying this as well, it's like, well, hang on, we get a chance to do, maybe we actually get a chance to do a slightly better faction.
Right.
Maybe we get to devoid ourselves from some of the, let's face it, some of the issues the GW has with their current race, which is, whether they like it or not, dubbed to be the heroes.
Right. So basically an alternative to the Ubermensch space Nazis, effectively.
Yeah, and
the theocracy, Just
kind of water that down as well, so that people as well will be more divided, even when it comes to a human faction then, who they choose, and they're maybe more likely then to go towards Tau and to other races. But also as well, I'd like to think that they would still keep something unnerving in. Look at the Tau and look at how they've slowly added in things. So what if you have something like this AI involved with these guys, but that the AI has its own agenda as well?
Right, it's much more sinister. Yeah, I love the idea.
In terms of, because they talked about this being a playable faction, and this is what I mentioned before the show started about time travel and thing. If they wanted a nice big base, what about the Spirit of Eternity? Which is the ship from the Dark Age that had an AI that told a whole bunch of Marines to go screw themselves because it had lost its pilot.
Oh, that could be fun. If they, honest to God, if they use these guys as the excuse to introduce like a Shodan equivalent in 40k, I'm in. Or a GLaDOS equivalent in 40k, I'm in. Totally in. But no, I think you're absolutely right, Adam. Thematically, these guys could be very interesting. You have an alternative to sort of the problematic essentialism of the Imperium, i.e. the notion that, oh yes, the Imperium is tyrannical and despotic, but it has to be this way. Bullshit. Here we have a human faction that demonstrates that is garbage. Right? Their existence demonstrates that is garbage. Regardless of how they manifest and what problems they have innate, they demonstrate that all of this despotic, tyrannical nonsense that the Imperium engages in is garbage, which is wonderful. It's wonderful for the universe. It introduces tensions,
Well, that's the thing is that the Imperial side has always been a little bit one-sided and heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Space Marines, Imperial Guards, Sisters of Battle, Custodes. What else? I'm sure I'm missing something here.
The Grey Knights, the Inquisitors, all those guys, Sisters of Battle, etc.
There is quite a lot of human stuff.
Yes.
Whilst there is the Necrons, and there is the Orcs. There are things inside that, but it is just the Orcs, the Necrons. Yeah. You've got more with the Eldar, the Eldari, the Exodites, the
Corsairs, the Harlequins, the Drukhari, of course.
But to have a, in quotes, human faction that is going to be at odds with the Imperium,
And also with imperial philosophy, that is the interesting thing, with imperial ideology, you know? This notion that, the Imperium is the last bastion of humanity, and that without all of its oppressions, then humanity would fall to chaos or would die to alien incursions. These guys look like they're going to demonstrate that is garbage, just by the measure of their existence, right? So I imagine there may be tension between, quite a lot of tension between these guys and the Imperium.
And I'm in for it. I
hope
in
so.
For honestly, if these guys end up being the good guys of the 31st millennium, I would be so happy.
I mean, they don't even necessarily need to be that. They can have their own innate problems and their own, issues and ambiguities, but just by measure of their existence, they demonstrate that one of the core tenets of the Imperium's ideology, and on which it justifies its basic Nazism, is garbage. There is another way. There are other ways for human beings to operate in this universe, to exist in this universe. It doesn't have to be the oppressive regime that the Imperium enforces.
Yeah. I've just looked at the piece of art, and I just love him so much.
It's
I love
interesting.
Everything. Oh man, yeah.
Well, they've gone as well. I mean, for the artwork, they've gone for pretty much as dwarfy as you can get. Because they want to bridge that gap, but obviously the model is a little bit different. In fact, it's funny because some people have mentioned as well that the haircut on the model is something very much of the current time. And
I'll have you know that haircut's not a million miles away from my current haircut.
Actually, Adam, when I first saw his face, I thought, have they modelled this on Adam or something? Do they actually watch this podcast? Is that what's going on? Do they use us as kind of like a weird kind of litmus test of what's going on?
That backpack dispenses cold brew, iced coffee to anyone who wants it. It's fantastic.
The gun shoots it, yeah. It's when we get some kind of undead vampire that's based entirely on Andy. That's when we know.
That's when we know.
I'd be a zombie. Wouldn't be a vampire. I'm not pretty enough to be a vampire.
Some kind of pretty decayed zombie.
Did anybody think that the dwarf the squat looked a little bit like, not completely, but had little echoes of the Terran Marines from StarCraft?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I'm glad it wasn't just me.
Yeah.
In fact, when you said as well about the bubble masks, I was like, well, actually, that could kind of push it a little too close.
Yeah, it could.
And I know the shared history, but it's almost like GW are thinking, well, they've not done too much with themselves recently. Maybe there's a chance we can sort of tread close.
And besides, Blizzard's getting sued left, right, and centre.
I was going to say it's falling apart. It doesn't have the time to deal with any of that stuff. Surely.
No.
Oh god, I'm just imagining the cross-pollination you could do in terms of conversions between these guys and the Caradron Overlords and stuff like that.
This is actually a thing I want to bring up. I'm going to go for a negative. I'm going for a negative, right? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think how to put it. So I've got a large Caradron Overlord army, right? It might end up feeling a little samey to do these guys after doing that.
Yeah.
With the way the backpack sits and the bulk of the shoulders and everything. It's not one-to-one, but there's a lot going on here. The elbow pads, for example, the knee pads, the curve on the shoulders, the backpack that's circular. There is a lot of the Caradron Overlord design that's carried over here. Caradron, you might say.
On the other hand, there's enough that's similar that there is cross-pollination, so conversions out the wazoo, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Might be a good reason to bring back normal dwarfs as well, then, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another question for you. We know that these guys are coming.
Yep.
Caradron Overlords will get a book at some point, and we know that Chaos Dwarves are somewhere in the grand ether of being a thing that's going to happen.
Apparently so, yeah. That is one of the other rumours knocking about. And that, quite frankly, if they've done the squats, then the Chaos Dwarves, or what do they call them these days?
They've got a couple of different names.
Yeah.
The
something kin, like
it's the Hobgoblins have it in there.
I can't remember. What
How about Bloodkin?
or yeah, it's something like the Dishonored Kin or something like that.
Yeah.
But they are coming. They are definitely going to get, at some point, there will be a sort of AOS Chaos Dwarf equivalent.
I'm just having a quick look. If I can't find it instantly, I'll just give up. And I can't find it instantly, so I'll just give up. Yeah, it's in the Auric Walk-Ons book, which, by the way, kind of refloats the idea of the Aurics being fungi. So
Does it? Oh, yeah. Cool.
Interesting. And unlike the 40k orcs, where a mushroom will grow, this is much more squiggly and horrible.
Good. We like that.
I'll have to read it at some point.
Very much. But yeah, for me, all bets are off now. I don't know what's coming around the corner after this. It's
Holy shitballs. I've just noticed something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right, look at the art.
Yes.
Of what I'm going to be calling Gotranium.
Yes.
Right, look at his fist. Look at the power fist.
Oh, he's got a power fist, yeah.
Right. Now think of the Man of Iron in Blackstone Fortress. It's the same design.
Oh, interesting. Do you think they're going to have these? The robots are going to be like a big part of these guys?
Possibly, but it's just occurred to me. I'm just going to pull up the Man of Iron from.
What did you call their metal?
Say again, sorry.
What did you call their metal?
The Man of Iron?
No. Yeah, I thought you said did you say grudgetanium? Is that what the suits are
I
made
called
out?
it
Is that...
Gotranium.
Oh, okay. I thought you said.
Right.
I thought you said their armor was made out of grudgetanium.
Tell you what, Grudgetanium is absolutely spot on. I love it.
I'm in for some Grudgetanium armor.
I'm up for that, definitely.
It is ore that you can only mine if you have a great grudge, and it's imbued into the metal as you mine it out.
Oh no, it's not as similar as I thought, to be honest. Although there's a bit of art looking at this where it's not a million miles away.
But you mentioned as well about machine spirits and not needing to do all that the rubbish with machine spirits. But what if instead of machine spirits, they actually do their suits are AI?
Yeah,
and it's like they are a partner in this, and that would I mean, to a space marine seeing that would be.
It's basically akin to it's demonic possession, effectively, isn't it? It's akin to demonic possession, so it would be an abomination, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't imagine the Black Templars getting on with these guys, can you?
No, and that would be such a cool way of getting them back in, having that sort of hand in hand with their own corruption, but their corruption being very, very well hidden inside their own suits. Ooh,
I do like that idea, I've got to say.
I'm in for that.
There's one more thing, and I don't want this. You guys might kind of wince at this, and I apologise. No, because it's so blatantly obvious and playing to a crowd. But the problem that GW has had with certain lines is for years. Like, for instance, artists have done so many box covers and so many bits of art, and they've always been Caucasian Space Marines. Yep. And that's because they've mostly been Caucasian artists. We don't have to go into all the details of it, and the various other aspects. So, and, recently a lot of people have said, well, hang on a second, humanity 1,000 years down the line, if we even survive, you're not going to have a race. You're going to have, it's going to be mixed as standard because that's the way it is. And so this is not appealing to the woke crowd. I don't give a crap about that.
Don't use that word.
I know. But you know what I mean? When I say the W word, I mean the people that react to it, not the people that are happy with it. So, but I like the idea that if GW from the start just goes, right from the start, everything is equal. But also I like the idea, if you've got suits of advanced tech which can work with you, then surely anyone can wear a suit. So would you have a mixed fighting force?
Probably.
That could be a possibility.
Yeah. And
I like that as well. And again, you're not making a statement. You're not kowtowing to any crowd. But I love the idea that if this line is coming out, set the rules right at the start, give us awesome stuff, and then you never have to note it again. Ever again.
Yeah, there's no need to redress the balance, as there is with Space Marines, unfortunately, at this point.
It's the Imperium in general, I think.
Just the Imperium in general, yeah. It's oddly white, isn't it? The Imperium, it's oddly white.
I think I know it's a problem. I know that there's backlash. I know there's discussion. So rather than whilst they struggle with that, if they completely avoid it this time.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And then as well, then it just comes down to people will either like or hate the armor, love or hate the lore. It comes back to the normal sniping that normally happens.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, when you consider that, like, this is supposed to be like 40,000 years into the future, it's supposed to be a point. I mean, like, at this point, you would have even greater variation of human beings in the Imperium than you have here, because there are human beings that have evolved on other planets, right?
Yeah.
So the variety in terms of skin tone would be amazing. Would be absolutely incredible, and other things as well. I mean, these guys kind of address that to a certain degree. I mean, they are morphologically different from other human beings, right? Because they've evolved on planets where the gravity is denser, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. So, whilst we're away, my sister was like confused why there was tanks and guns and things in the game of Warhammer.
Well, why are there swords and things and axes, It's, why are there still swords? It's so silly.
But she was trying to work out what was going on.
Cool.
Well, because she, in her mind, was like, well, isn't it like Lord of the Rings? Mm-hmm. She didn't realise there was a future version of it.
Right.
And so I was trying to explain to her, it's like the 41st millennium, okay, how? Because that's so far ahead. Mm-hmm. And it got into a really interesting conversation of, well, Star Trek has already been and happened and gone.
Yeah.
That's a thought I've never had before. That, the wonderful utopia of Star Trek has happened and been and gone and finished. Yeah. And we're at the other end of it. And it's such a wonderful way of looking at it. When you think about it in that kind of scale, it's ridiculous that there's only like 3 faces in the Imperial Guard.
It is kind of silly, isn't it?
Didn't they do an upgrade pack for them, though?
They did. They did, so, which is good.
I'm just. But
it does need to be more integrated into the lines. It really does.
I suppose it depends on what planet you want your regiment to come from, doesn't it?
Yeah, the Vostroyans should have more of a blue sheen to their skin, for example. But that's just me. I'm apparently alone on that one, so I'm going to be quiet.
Well, I would imagine, like most people, if they're going to do a human faction, unless they're going to do an interesting kind of out there color scheme, are going to keep human skin colors just because it'll make them look more naturally human rather than a future fictional version of what humanity should be. Mm-hmm. So they'll use the skin colors that whatever they want at that point, I suppose, won't they?
I think all humans should be painted in the same skin colour as Garibaldi from Babylon
5. Red.
Pretty much, yeah.
Angry.
Angry red.
Sarcastic.
I'm pretty sure one of the squat models that they've got in silhouette has a rounded dome over his head.
Yes, it does.
It's really difficult to work out. They've clearly tried to hide the others as much as possible. I like the fact that they've actually released them as well. Mm-hmm. So that it's not just a single model that hasn't been done as a one-off, because they're that worried that people will still think it's a joke because GW.
I honestly thought this would be a kill team and nothing more.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's going to be much, much more. Also,
wow. I mean, isn't there a picture of the Codex, like the front cover?
I don't think so.
No? No, there isn't. No, you're right. Sorry.
No, that's just a picture of Gruff.
But no, it is going to be a faction. It's definitely going to be the first new, not new, but old new 40k faction in quite a while.
Did they 100% confirm it was a full faction, not like Gruff said, a kill team?
It's definitely. It's going to be a Codex. This is going to be
They did say it. Okay.
Yeah. Which is fascinating. I mean, like, in terms of where they fit in to the dynamics of the battlefield is going to be interesting, because there are a lot of armies that emphasize long-range technology now. Quite a lot of them. So how are they going to make them different from, like, Eldari, Drukhari, Tau, etc.?
Well, first of all, they won't have a charge rule. They're not allowed to be able to charge because short legs. So
Yeah, they don't really do close combat, do they, these guys?
no. I think it's either going to be a lot of castling, so build up a great big structure at the center of your army that's just shooting and firing, and then hopefully like bikes and machines that travel around the battlefield at high speed doing damage.
Right. Interesting. Interesting.
Castling and rooking, basically.
No, that would make sense.
Some bearing the appearance of old-fashioned trains, some with large humanoid faces.
One surprisingly looking like a robust controller. That's the name of the AI that controls them. It's the robust controller.
Oh god. But I'm deadly serious. If they do this, if there is like a 40k like psychotic AI, like Shodan or like GLaDOS or like Skynet or whatever, I'm kind of into that.
Yeah. Unless they absolutely knacker it.
Yeah.
I'm in no matter what. I'm so in. Right, shall we start winding things down?
Yeah, sure. I think we've comprehensively covered that lot.
Yeah, I can't believe they're doing squats.
No, I can't, to be honest. It's still kind of incredulous to me.
It's just so weird. And I never thought it would actually happen, and it's happened, and now I'm confused and scared.
And it's one of those things that's opened the way for so much else. I mean, now nothing seems impossible, does it? Like, the notion that we're getting World Eaters very, very, well, not very soon, but somewhere down the line quite imminently. It's like, well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's kind of small potatoes compared to this.
If they do it, and they actually do a squat Man-of-Iron 2-for-1 with this release, I'm going to be flabbergasted.
I mean, now, would you at all be surprised to see Exodites somewhere down the line?
No, not at
because
all.
I wouldn't. Nah, not at all.
I'm about 3 steps away from believing that there's going to be the actual Zotes turn back up as this messenger service.
Right.
You know. Do you have 5 minutes to talk about our great Lord and Saviour, the Great Devourer? You know, I can see that happening. It's so weird.
Oh my god, the notion of a Gene Stealer cult based on one of the evangelistic sort of door-knocking churches, that makes me very happy. That makes me very happy. They don't bother to hide it. They just go around Imperial Society with pamphlets. Love it. Love it. Maybe seeded with the genetic material so when people take it, they get infected, yeah? I love it. I kind of want to do that.
I think you should. I think you honestly should. I think that sounds like an amazing idea, and I look forward to seeing your 4,500 point army based on that concept.
Which church do I base them on, though? Do I go down the Mormon route or the Jehovah's Witness route? I don't know.
Go give them all Tom Cruise's face and go Scientology.
Oh God, no.
Just have Tom Cruise's monotooth staring at you.
No, nobody would ever believe that, even in the 40k world.
Definitely not, no. In the same way that they would never believe that he's straight.
Oh, man. Right then. So, with all that being said, we shall start to get ourselves out of here. Mr. White.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us this evening. Would you like to begin by pimping something out that you wish to pimp?
I don't have anything of my own that I wish to pimp because I don't really do anything. No, because as some of you all know, there's like I'm changing jobs, changing towns, everything's going really well for me. So can I give a shout out though to something that I don't know if it's been mentioned here, but because obviously I'm still very, very good mates with Billy, I want to give TF Nation a shout. People who followed the Fluffenhammer recently, and I say recently, like the last year or so, probably don't know the background to where a lot of us got to know each other was actually giant transforming robots.
Yeah.
And so
otherwise known as the Tau.
Yeah. So a group called TF Nation ran conventions in the UK. In the last 2 years, they did them remotely, free of charge for people whilst the pandemic was going on. So they're trying to obviously do their one this year. But they're really up against it. And I hope they don't mind me saying this, but when you've done something for free for 2 years and had those costs and been screwed over on a live event, it's difficult for you to kind of come back from that, and they're doing really well, but they need all the support they can get. It's a fantastic community, and the fact that we still speak to each other after meeting through that speaks volumes about how good it is. So tfnation.com, go check them out. Lovely folks.
It's an amazing convention, guys. The atmosphere is unbelievable. It really, really is. As Adam said, all of us met through it, right? I mean, so many I can't believe I'm actually going through my head, the amount of friends that I've made from that convention. I mean, proper friends who I go visit and COVID allowing. It's unbelievable, it is unbelievable.
Yeah, actually. I think, all four of you I met through TFN.
Yeah.
All four of you, three of you, and there's four of us on the call.
Yeah. Who is the mysterious
didn't you meet me through Dave because of YouTube?
No.
Was it TF Nation first?
It would have been Auto Assembly, yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, back when, way back when.
I've known you, Andy.
The dark days.
I've known you, Andy, for over 10 years now at this point.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I met you in 2009.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think that was when I first met you, all of you face to face.
Jeez.
Cripes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Sorry for making you all feel so old.
Yeah, I'm kind of don't know where to go with this now. I'm just going to turn into some dust. It's a good shout, actually. Yeah,
it's a very good
shout. Cool, yeah. Mr. Andy. Tell people about yourself in the ways of the Andy.
Well, you can find me on the Moonbase 2 podcast talking about Transformers. Lots of places. If you just type in Moonbase 2 Transformers podcast, you'll probably find us. I'm on Twitch as Decayed Andy and YouTube as Decayed Andy. And at the moment, because we finished Elden Ring as of last night, I don't know what we'll be playing next. We'll be playing something, though.
I think you should play, let me think, Story of Thor on the Mega Drive.
Oh my God, really? Jeez, wow.
By the way,
Adam, why did you go for a shit Mega Drive game? Why didn't you go for one of the good ones?
Because I've been trying to get Ross to play it for 4 years. It's failing. So I need a new target. Actually, no. Shadow Man's just had a redo, hasn't it?
It has. I'm going to be doing that on my YouTube channel at some point.
I fucking love Shadow Man. It was a great game.
I like it a lot.
I want Sekiro to go on sale, but it's not gonna for some reason. It's really annoying.
Say again, Andy?
I'd like Sekiro to go on sale because I've never played it, but it just never goes on Steam sales. Never.
I was going to say as well, for anyone listening who wants to listen to Andy's streams, here's a word of advice as well. Andy is in charge of the stream unless there is somebody that calls themselves Daddy on it. If Daddy is on the stream, then Daddy is in charge. You will understand when you see the stream, and I'll see you on there.
Now, you see, there are streams and things that I watch where that is the case, but I don't think it's Andy's.
That's not Twitch.
John's going to tell you a story about a particular Instagrammer I follow after this recording is finished, and you are going to absolutely love it.
That's Pornhub you're watching. That's I was going to
say, yeah.
Stop trying to subscribe. It doesn't work. George, where can people find you?
Oh my goodness. Well, you can find me around the Exaggerated Elegy channel on YouTube, where I am also currently playing Elden Ring, amongst other things, and there are lots of podcasts about media and cinema and literature and stuff like that. You can find links to my published work, my short story collections, at strangeplaygrounds.com. Most recently had the volumes of Born in Blood published by Perpetual Motion Machine Publications, and also a short story published in an anthology, The Book of Queer Saints, which I was phenomenally happy to be part of, I can tell you, which is doing really, really well. Beyond that...
Just before you continue, I saw a review of yours the other day, actually.
Yeah, right.
Which I was quite thrown back by.
Yeah.
And it was what was it? George's writing is a continuous war against conservatism.
Yeah.
That person got you fucking
That's-
bang on the money.
That's my pal Rowan, and Rowan is amazing. They just get my work.
Is that Rowan Fortune?
Yeah, Rowan
yeah,
just
all right.
gets it. Rowan just gets my stuff. It's unbelievable. They do. They just, zero in on the essence of it. And that line is just the essence of what I write. That is it. That is like my intention. That is my agenda. That is why I do it. That is everything, So if that's what you fancy, guys, go and read some of my short story collections and, review them. That'd be lovely. Thanks very much. Beyond that, you can come and chat to me over at Twitter at Enigmatic Elegy if you fancy it.
Excellent. Adam, where can people find you? Well, Adam, they can find you on the Fluffenhammer, which is here. They can find you at adnickel.weebly.com, where I release audiobooks and do various bits of art. And if people would like commissions, then please give me money, because I like money and I need money, and I'll do your art for you. Yeah, commissions for art. Yeah. That's been doing all right recently, actually, which has been pretty good. But I would like more, even though, my God, I have no time. But still, I would like more. Where else can you find me? That's really about it. Currently, I am on Twitter at Grufflock, where you can find me continuously sharing all of the horrible things people have been saying about 2022's Morbius movie, which has been keeping me highly fucking amused this weekend.
Are you just going to call this episode "Everyone Hates Jared Leto" and be done with it? Is that...
That's not subtle enough for my liking. The best one I saw today was a picture of a car's broken window, and it just said, "Everyone be careful out there. I had 2 tickets to see Morbius tonight. Somebody broke into my car and left me 4 more." I have also joined the official Morbius server on Discord, and it is the finest shitposting I've ever seen in my life. Especially as of 9 o'clock this morning, they all refused to call it Morbius and have now started calling it Moist Bus.
I love that.
It is... every time I've gone onto it, I have been reduced to churlish giggles. The thing is, Jared Leto is apparently meant to be doing a Q&A on that on sometime this week. He's never showing up. He is not turning up to it. Some of the stuff they've asked him is so fucking funny. It's absolutely beautiful. It is. They all know that they can't be outright abusive. Mm-hmm. So the level of genius that people have gone to in order to make sure that they can't be done for being abusive is amazing. As I say, Moist Bus, that ruined me. The other one is Jared Leto is an actor, is the brand new We Live in a Society. And Jared Leto is definitely an actor who is alive today who starred in 2022's Morbius.
Oh my God.
Morbius is the best Morbius in the film Morbius. It just continues. I'm here for it. This has been like the best thing I have found in ages. What I really, really enjoy is that Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has a much, much better review than Morbius.
Well, yes, actually, that was what Mark Commode said in his review of Morbius. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is a better film.
Is it out now, Sonic 2?
Yeah, that's weekend.
Yeah.
Just to say as well that when you Google images for Morbius, one of the main ones that came up is Morbius walking past an image of Spider-Man on the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not in the film.
Not only that is about 100 meters from the centre of Manchester. I've walked past that wall. I know exactly where it is. I'm really tempted to paste up something and just say, hey, anyone want to put a review for Morbius up here and see if people, because there's a huge street art community anyway. And people were talking about putting something jokey up because obviously they painted this fake art up on the wall and then they cleaned the wall and took it all down. But they also cleaned up a lot of people's original art at the same time. So this would be a great way of put up your crappy review here.
In my living memory, I don't think I've ever seen a film get so... It's not attacked, because that's the wrong word for it, but just so universally derided.
It's Batman and Robin territory for back in the day.
I don't think it's got the fun of that. The campy fun of Batman and Robin, surely.
That's true,
it doesn't look like it does.
It looks quite po-faced, doesn't it? It looks like it takes itself terribly serious.
Well, every single person that has likened it to another film has likened it to Elektra.
That's right.
Oh no,
because it feels like a script from that era.
Oh,
no.
That's pretty bad, isn't it?
As bad as things might get, just thank yourself lucky that you're not Matt Smith's agent, who's done Terminator and has now done this, and it's like the poor lad can't.
I know, and it's such a shame because he's good.
Yeah.
You know, Matt Smith is a decent actor. He deserves better roles than this.
Absolutely. Let's give Matt Smith something really good to run with.
Another Predator movie it is.
Hang on, what? Oh, let's make a live action The Wizard of Earthsea and let's get Matt Smith on it.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
There you go.
I'd say be bold. Just remake Morbius.
Yeah, with Matt Smith, right?
In 6
as
months'
Morbius,
time.
right? Yeah.
One of the best things I saw was that 2 days before Morbius is released, somebody put up a story, and I think it was fake, I don't think it was true, but it was that Andy Serkis had been cast as Morbius for Morbius 2. Oh, I love it so much. It makes me so happy. Right, let's get out of here then.
Let's.
Everybody for taking part in this absolute horror show of amazement.
No, pleasure.
It's been a roller coaster. And thank you for everyone listening at home, if indeed you still are.
Yeah,
Good
well
night.
done. Well done.